Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's Magical Creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Long time no see. We're back here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Kind of a dual stream action. The Thursday night series is live, or Thursday night series, correction. Goat Locker Racing is live right now with their ARCA series. Catch Dean Hopton and Jacob Reeves on the call for that race. But we are here tonight to give you a live hot lap episode because we are approaching a championship race. Brady LaBeouf and the SimRacerHub.com Xfinity Series. It's time to crown a new Nazareth champion, and we're going to have some great content for you. Two of the championship drivers will start the show with us. Then we'll have kind of a little bit of a break, Brady, until we talk with the other four championship 6 drivers later on.
Absolutely. It's great to see you again, Tyler. But yeah, I mean, with the Road to Pro series kind of going on Thursdays, our podcast going on Thursdays, we had to kind of work with the guys' schedule here. Uh, Thankfully enough, Ross and Steve are not part of that group, so they decided Steve just wants to go to bed early tonight, and Ross has a league race in about 25 minutes. So we're going to get those knocked out the way, and then we'll get the other four: Peyton Johnson, Matt Dula, Ryan Johnson, and Nate Maurer running the Road to Pro series. So we'll have them later on the show, but yeah, we're going to kick it off like we used to do it back in the day, almost like a vintage throwback kind of a hot lap podcast episode. So yeah, we're going to kick this thing off, and I'm ready. I'm ready to get the first group in here. If you are, Tyler.
Yeah, I am as well. I just got to let Steve know he needs to mute himself in the Streamlab links. But otherwise, Brady, should be a great show tonight. A lot of content to cover. The Hot Laps questions will be very interesting. But we're excited to get these two drivers on the show. Two drivers who maybe some people didn't expect to be in this Championship 6. We'll have to actually look at the predictions again, Brady. But right now, we do have Mr. Steve Barnett and Ross Tatum joining us live on the Hot Lap. Steve, you and I spoke earlier today, just trying to get you situated with cameras and stuff. It looks like we got you figured out so far. Ross, as well, welcome to the show. You two have made the Championship 6. We appreciate you being here. First, we'll just kind of say, how does it feel to make the Championship 6, and were you kind of expecting it? And we'll start with Steve.
Can you hear me? Am I good?
I think so. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I got you, Steve.
I'm not echoing?
Nope, you're good.
No, we're good, man.
Oh, sweet. No, it's pretty cool to make the Championship 6. You know, I really had a lot of help from my teammates. You know, Gregory helped me. He was actually spotting once he went a couple laps down, and Hunter was trying to win the thing, so another one of them drivers couldn't, and I just had all my team helping me, and I had a feeling halfway through I was going to be locked in. I had way too much help not to be in there.
You as well, Ross?
Yeah, it feels good. I wasn't, after Kansas, I didn't really have to worry too much at Talladega. So Talladega was a nice, easy drive, and I got wrecked a lot, and so it was a lot of fun. But it was nice to make the championship 6. It's should be a lot of fun next Tuesday.
Now,
Yeah,
both of you guys have. Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
No, you, Bray. I already had
Okay.
a question.
No, I just want to kind of switch gears a little bit. You know, it's been a long time since we had a successful Xfinity series, and I mean, like I said earlier, I announced it earlier in the week. You know, 32 drivers per race, 15-week season. We're going to 18 weeks. We'll probably keep it at 18 weeks for the time being. But you know, we hit the ground running real early with this series, and these two in particular, different paths to the championship six. I would like for both of you guys just to kind of recap the season a little bit in detail, if you would. We'll start with Steve. Just talk to us a little bit how the season goes, because you race on other nights with Nazareth. It's a different format. It's set up different. It goes by pretty quick when you talk about 15 weeks. So each one of y'all kind of talk in detail about the season, what it was like, what you like, maybe dislike, how tough it was. Maybe you felt like it was easier, but just kind of elaborate on that for us, if you will, starting with Steve.
I'm starting out with the season about 3 or 4 races in. I was ready to give up and be done. We had so many wrecks and it was just nonstop chaos. And I said, I'll just give it one more shot. And next thing you know, I think I don't know where we were at. We ran like whole green flag race, and then we kept getting more and more green flags throughout the season. And I was like, this is shaping up to be pretty good. Everybody was running clean. Um, the competition was tough for sure. I actually think it's, even though I'm not on the Monday series, I'm not in the playoffs, but I think the Tuesday series is a little tougher than the Monday series just by how many drivers can actually win the race and the talent we got in the field. But definitely glad I stuck with it. I was ready to give up because I was getting wrecked. Like the first 4 races, I think I got wrecked out every single time. But I knew I had a shot at making the playoffs because we had Auto Club in there, which I'm good at, which was my only win of the season. We had Michigan, which I think I could have won, but we saw what happened there. And then now we got Charlotte for the championship race, and you guys know how I ran at Charlotte last year, and I love that track. So I think it's gonna be a pretty good end of the season for me.
And Ross.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first week during the duels, I thought I made a huge mistake joining the league because the duels were so crazy. But yeah, after Daytona, we went to I think Homestead, and after that, it's just been a lot of good racing. It's been pretty surprising how this is my first time I've really went ventured out to other leagues in a while, so it's been pretty surprising how good the racing's been, especially this back half of the season. It's been a lot of fun racing with my teammates on my team. I mean, they've been cool. I feel like I probably should have had a few more wins than I did, but I was always constantly saving a set of tires. So I never really got to capitalize on that, especially near the end of the season where we kept going green. So, but that's a good thing. So, but it's been a lot of fun. I really have no complaints this season. It's been very enjoyable, and it's gotten me pumped to even join back next season. So I'm excited for that too.
So the two of you had, in my opinion, very, very different seasons, at least to start and how it ended, right? Steve, you had, you got that win pretty early. I mean, maybe not early, midway through the season, and you kind of figured out, where you needed to be, where you wanted to be, throughout the rest of this playoffs. But Ross, you go out and win the first race of this round of the semifinal round. I'll call it the round of 12. Kind of locking yourself in. Just kind of talk about how different it was for the two of you to kind of go throughout your seasons and get the results that you were looking for.
Well, for me, like I was just saying in that last comment, I was trying to save a set of tires for the end of all these races to go out and still wins, especially at the beginning. And Homestead, I think it was the second race of the season. I saved a set of tires and I didn't use them and I didn't put them on. And then Rhett Tucker flew around the outside of us all and passed us all and beat us. And I feel like if I'd have taken the tires that race, I probably would have won that race. Not shading on anybody, but I was pretty fast there. And uh, so that kind of set me up. And you think I learned my lesson that race, but I didn't. And I kept doing it over and over. So I really didn't accumulate many stage points. Ryan Johnson pretty much just accumulate stage points and always put tires on the car. So he was way ahead by the time we got to the playoffs. So once I got into the playoffs, it was actually, I wasn't doing too hot in playoff points. I think I only had like 3 or 4. So my goal was just to point my way through the stage, the first round. And then when we got to the second round, I knew I'd be good at Kansas, but I just decided I'd go all for stage points at Kansas. And luckily the cautions just fell perfect for me. And I was able to just get a win there. And then, like I said last week at Talladega, my main goal was to help Peyton. I don't think I did a very good job of it, but Luckily, we got him through too. But yeah, it's definitely been a slow burn for me to get to where I'm at now. So hopefully we can go to Charlotte and make something happen.
Well, speaking of Charlotte, Tyler kind of, touched base on it a little bit. I would say, not to pick on Steve, but maybe a little bit of inconsistency on the season. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. You got the one win, just like Ross got the one win. The difference between the two drivers, Tyler, in my opinion, Ross, we talked about it on the hot lap a week or two ago about how many top fives, top tens. Seems like there was a little bit more consistency out of Ross than Steve. Steve, and this is going to be a question for Ross also. If it comes down to it, you know, going up against a driver like Ross who's been consistent, uh, what is it going to take to beat him? And then Ross, you've raced with Steve 14 weeks in a row now. What is it going to take to beat Steve if it comes down to you two?
If it comes down to it and I'm leading it, Ross has seen how I can block. I about ran us down into the grass at Michigan. If I have to do that, I'm gonna do that. But I think it's gonna be who saves the tire the best and who keeps their car out of the dirty air, getting wrecked, hitting the wall, maybe coming out of four. Just staying clean. I think it's gonna be a barn burner to the start finish line. I think it's gonna be real close.
And Ross?
Well, I'm not really someone who's going to go out and wreck people or hit people out of the way or anything. So, my main goal is just gonna be try to qualify up front, stay up front. Charlotte's a big dirty air track. If you get out front, you're hard to beat. So, I think whoever wins the pole or whoever gets out front after stage two is going to be really hard to beat whoever that is. So, track position is going to be a big deal next week. So I think that's going to be the main goal for me is just to stay up front.
So I got to say, gentlemen, right? We're going to an intermediate track, Charlotte, high bank, mile and a half circuit here. Obviously, Steve, you won at the moderately banked Auto Club 2 mile D shaped oval. Ross, you did win at a mile and a half, but Kansas and Charlotte are very, very different how they drive. Charlotte has significantly more banking. What do you feel with how the race is going to play out, and do you think your wins give you an edge? And we'll start with Ross on this question.
Charlotte, not really. I'm honestly not very good at Charlotte. It gives me a lot of fits. For whatever reason, the Xfinity cars are very tight there. Uh, it's gonna be whoever can keep their right front on their car the longest. So, um, I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence going into next week to win it or anything. But like I just said, if you get out front, you have a chance. And I think my main goal is just gonna be try to get out front some way, somehow, and see what happens from there.
Yeah,
Steve?
I'm definitely the opposite. I love Charlotte. I have that track figured out. That's in my top three best tracks. It's the Michigans, the Auto Club, and the Charlotte. That's on my list. I'm confident at Charlotte. I love Charlotte, and hopefully if I can put it on the pole or somewhere in the top five for qualifying, I think I got a pretty good shot. I have all the confidence in the world, which either gonna make or break for me. So we'll find out, I guess.
Well, to kind of comment on that, we're talking about focusing on Charlotte right here. How much practice have you put in? I know I haven't updated the session. I purposely kind of waited on that just to make sure everybody's on an even playing field. But how much practice have y'all ran laps at Charlotte so far? And I'll start with Steve.
I'm not gonna comment on that. We'll just find out when we get there.
Okay, holding back a little bit of information. Ross, have you ran any laps so far?
Oh no, I probably won't run any until Tuesday. We'll see. Probably not.
A little bit of mind games, Tyler, I think going on right here.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to
So,
give us an honest
so
answer.
I've talked to Steve, and I won't reveal his answer. I'll respect his decision to not tell, but Steve and I've talked about this race, and I think, we kind of saw in the Friday night series when they went to Old Atlanta, right, Brady? Robbie Richards deciding maybe not to run as many practice laps as he should have and didn't have that experience getting on pit road late cost him, in my opinion, a shot at a championship. obviously giving it to Jeff Merck. I gotta say, gentlemen, though, coming into this race, everyone's like Ryan Johnson's the favorite. Ryan Johnson's the favorite. Who do you think, outside of maybe yourselves, could be really, really sneaky at potentially stealing away this title from the favorite or yourself? We'll start with Steve.
Matt Dula. It doesn't matter where I'm at on the track. If as soon as I get up front, if I'm struggling to get by somebody, it's a 97 car. I feel like he's always in my way, and I can't get around him, and he's just always up front. I think he could be a pretty big spoiler.
And Ross.
I'm not saying it because he's my teammate, but I think it's got to be Peyton. He's constantly in the top 5 almost every week. Whether he finishes there or not, usually something happens or doesn't happen, but he's constantly in the top 5. So I'd say Peyton's probably the guy that can sneak up there and get it done.
Well, I know Ross has about 12 more minutes before he has to get to his league race. So this would be my last question. And I just got a private message from Hunter. I don't know why, Tyler. If I'm talking to Steve, if I'm talking to Cole, I got to deal with Hunter. If I'm talking to Hunter, I got to
Hunter's
deal with Cole.
personality.
I don't get it. I really don't.
It's Hunter's personality. Even if you're
he's-
talking to Hunter, you still got to deal with Hunter on the
I'm
side.
not talking to him. He's messaging me.
I know.
He's saying Steve never practices until the session opens. I don't buy it. Okay, I talk to Jason Morales every day behind the scenes. Him and I share notes like Jeff Gordon and Dylan Hurt Senior used to share notes. So I'm not buying
they didn't share
anything.
notes. Their
I'm
crew
not,
chief shared notes, but
and we're team owners, so it's kind of the same ordeal, Tyler. But I'm not buying anything that Hunter says. Okay, but anyways, my last question would be Steve. You can't pick yourself, but who wins the championship Tuesday night? Ross, same question to you. Steve, you go first.
Ryan Johnson. Or, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ryan Johnson.
Okay, that's one Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Ross, who you picking?
Yeah, it's got to be Ryan. He keeps his right front on the tire so well everywhere we go. I mean, he's gonna be hard to beat.
Okay, now look, since we talked about it, Tyler, real quick, I'm sorry, I'm cutting in on
no,
you,
you're
Tom.
fine.
But since, it's Ryan Johnson, Tyler brought it up, was the favorite all season long because of how he performed. He's got the most wins among all the drivers. But that's not, necessarily what it can take. You can actually see somebody that's not in a championship 6, like a Adam Newton or a Blake Lothian or a Ryan Honeycutt for that matter, or even Stephen Gregory, who just got knocked out the playoffs, win this race. You're just racing against your other 5 competitors. So who would be a surprise winner?
I would say Ron Honeycutt could probably.
Well,
jump
I'm
up there
talking
and
about
win.
the championship 6 drivers out of you guys.
They
Who would
already
be,
answered
who
this
would be
question, Brady. I asked them who their surprise was. You weren't paying attention.
Well, I
Steve
need Hunter. I
literally
need
said,
Hunter to stop messaging me. That's the problem. He won't
"Yeah,
stop messaging
tell
me.
Hunter to shut up." Steve chose Dula, and Ross. Ross, remind me who you chose again.
Oh, Peyton.
Peyton.
Okay, Peyton. Okay,
Peyton,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
they took Peyton.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on.
Well,
Come on,
well,
this
I'm
is a
good.
professional endeavor here.
I'm sorry,
back
but
we're
your
getting back to
buddy,
old
your
days
best
of Hot
friend
Lap.
Tyler Hunter will not
So,
leave me
yeah,
alone.
okay, yeah,
I think
that's
he's trying to
bullshit.
get a spot. I think he wants to get on the podcast. He's fighting for a spot.
Well, he needs to show up in a championship 6 again, then he can be on the show. No, we appreciate both of you gentlemen coming on with us. Obviously, we had you only slated for another 4 minutes. I'm going to open this up for you all to talk smack, right? Or give your final message to your fellow competitors and then also thank your sponsors. We'll start first with Steve.
We're not gonna talk too much smack because I think karma come around and bite you. But the only person I can really talk smack to is Peyton Johnson. I mean, I've wrecked 2 people in this series, and Peyton seems to be right there to take it all. So I mean, if he'd just stay off my bumper a little bit, maybe we wouldn't have a problem. But he's always right there, runs right through my bumper. I may hit the wall, but he's the one that's right behind me every time it happened. And Ross, I don't think I really ran. Only time I could say I did something dirty to Ross is when he was coming on fresh tires and I took us into a different area code about to go jumping through the infield at Auto Club, but I wasn't going to lose that one. And then I used Ryan's door to turn I don't feel too bad about that either. That was pretty cool looking on the broadcast, but um, I don't really got any smack to talk, and um, I just thanks to all the Highline guys, especially for getting me here again. Like I said, Gregory was spotting for me at their Talladega, and Hunter was helping push, and Cole actually gave me the lucky dog, backed off so I could have it after we went speeding through pit road. Um, all the guys at Highline on Tuesday night really helped me where I'm sitting right now. So big thanks to them. Big thanks to Jason for taking me not only on Monday but Tuesday. And I don't think I'd be sitting here if I didn't have a good team to help on a super speedway. So that's all I got.
Yeah, for me, I don't really have any enemies. I haven't made any enemies this season. I think I even have the
Haven't tried
fewest.
hard enough, Len.
Yeah, I think I have the fewest incidents in the league by a lot. So I don't know. I haven't really ran into anybody, but I just want to say thanks to everybody in the league. It's been a lot of fun this season. This season has flown by. I mean, it's already over, and I do have to shout out my sponsor, Bustler Racing Designs on Trading Paints. Everybody go check him out, dude. He'll paint you a paint scheme for free real quick. He's the best. His name's Will Bustler. Just reach out to him on Discord or wherever, and he'll hook you up. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun this season. I don't really have any smack to talk, but maybe I will after next week. We'll have to see.
Well, there you go. Well, guys, from the owner, appreciate you both coming on tonight, talking about yourselves, promoting yourself. Thank you, Steve. Hey, Hunter's still messaging me, and now he's sending me pictures, and I refuse to
That's
open them up.
weird. That's
So,
weird. Do
so
not
yeah,
open those photos.
no,
Does
I'm
he
not.
want a hat? Does he want a hat or something?
I think he's just jealous. But anyways,
Wait, before we let you go, we got to say one thing. Steve, your dad is the best fan I think Nazareth has ever had, and I want to give him a shout out here on the show. Hopefully, he's watching right now. I
Oh,
know he watches everything.
he's watching.
yeah,
And
shout out to
you
Mr.
and I were
Steve.
talking. Yeah, Mr.
I get to
Barnett
meet
is
him
just.
in a couple of weeks. I can't wait.
Oh God, help us all at Talladega,
Oh, he's ruined.
Lordy.
He's going to be ruined.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
He
By the
might
way,
not
Ross,
make
you
it
are
back to
correct.
Michigan.
Yeah, he might not. Ross, you are correct. Of all drivers with 10 or more starts, you do have the least amount of incident points. I know Mr. Adam Newton's a big fact guy. I was fact checking you there. You are correct in that regard. Well, like you said, Brady, you can send us away on these interviews.
No, but congratulations to Steve and Ross. Really proud of Ross, and I'm glad that he's on Mission One Esports. Steve always had a long-standing relationship with the Barnett, so I'm really happy to see Steve. Had a little bit of heartbreak in the Mondays. He rebounded, made it to the final six, which I believe Steve, this is your first time ever in Nazareth, the final six.
Yeah, this is my
Yeah, so
third season.
so
So
yeah, congratulations. So man, just may the best man win. Just go out there and have fun. That's what it's all about. That's why we show up every week and do this. So at the end of the day, may the best man win. I'm really proud of both you guys, and I'll be happy with either one of you guys. I'm just so glad that I'm not speaking to Hunter tonight. So thank you both for
Thank
coming on, and
God.
we'll see y'all Tuesday night.
yeah, I'll be there.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was absolutely a great interview, Brady. Definitely a little bit more patient than some of the interviews we've had with drivers in the past, but a good interview to have nonetheless. Really appreciate Steve and Ross talking with us there for a little bit. They're very good dudes, and I appreciate talking with them whenever I get a chance. We do need to talk though about the elephant in the room, which was our postseason Champ Six predictions. Brady, you kicked my ass in regards to picking the Champ Six as well as the champion, because my championship pick didn't even make it. Brady, you had Ryan Johnson, Matt Dula, Ross Tatum, and Peyton Johnson all correct. I only had Ryan Johnson and Ross Tatum. You did choose
Nice,
Ryan
nice.
Johnson as your champion, so
Well,
I
who was the
will.
other two that I had in? So I didn't have
You had
Steve
Blake.
and Nate.
You had Blake and Roger.
Oh man, what a heartache for Roger. I believe he missed
Yeah,
it by 2 or 3 points.
yeah, he did. He was
I
close.
think he'll be all right. I hope he comes back next season because he's great for this series. And man,
sure.
yeah, hopefully he comes back and tries to fight it. Man, it's always tough. Only six could make it. I believe we did the round of 12, and then we went to the six. So man, that's just
Yeah,
tough. But
yeah.
hey,
Blake, and hold on. I'm gonna try to get the accurate results here because there's a points adjustment on this. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, both drivers super close. I feel really bad for them. Blake and Roger were extremely close. Ryan was also extremely close. He had a great postseason. Ryan Honeycutt, that is, and then Dean Doucette, one of my other picks as well. Very close. They're all inside the top 10. So all the guys we missed on are inside the top 10 in points. So.
Ryan just had a tough round. We saw him and Hunter get into it at Kansas.
Yep.
He was barely making minimum speed. The same thing at Talladega. So tough outing. Blake very quiet.
Yeah,
Not
it wasn't
really much
bad or
spark
wasn't
from
good.
Blake.
It was just kind of, yeah, I was gonna say he
Yeah.
was just kind of there. Like I love Blake. Him and I a great broadcasting relationship, as well as I think I would call him a good friend of mine. I enjoy working with him as well as driving against him. But yeah, just kind of nothing spectacular from Mr. Lothian there. But we have a bit of a break before we get to our next round of interviews. We're gonna now talk about the Monday series. They took on Watkins Glen this past Monday. We're also gonna have to do 4 more fresh picks, Brady, because I don't plan on probably doing another podcast episode until the Sunday following Easter Sunday. So
That's
we'll have
fine.
to do a
Just
lot of
remind me
picks.
when we get. We'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, the final lap will be a lot of picks for us. We'll figure it out there. It'll be
That's
rough.
fine.
But yeah, Mondays, Watkins Glen, Cole Henriksen goes out and dominates. He pits just before one of the stage ends, so he doesn't collect one of the stage wins, but he won one of the other stages as well as won the race in dominating fashion. Kerry Tribune, who was probably a lot of people's favorites coming into the race after winning Indy Road Course, ran a decent race, but made a lot of mistakes. Ended up costing himself a top 3 finish, ends up finishing just inside the top 5, I believe. I think he finished 5th or maybe 6th, Brady. But he does put himself above the cut line. I don't know if we have the point standings for the Monday night series, but the cut line has shifted dramatically, speaking, Brady, throughout. Absolutely just insanity with the points here. We're going to get the points up now, I believe. Yeah, this is the updated point standing. And a lot of things have happened, right? Brady, you're plus 48. I would essentially say you're locked in as long as you make the start tomorrow night. Justin White essentially locked into the next round, plus 45. Nate, I would say any driver plus 20 is safe at this point. Chris Cinnamon Tribute, I would say they're pretty safe, but they're kind of in that bubble line. Castellanos goes from the basement to the next round. He's plus 6. Brian Chu plus 9. Gregory and Morales tied. Gregory holds the tiebreaker, Brady. But look at the drivers in the bottom 6. Some names that people would not have expected if they had not listened to our show, Brady, because you and I were all over all of these top dogs struggling in the first round. You had Peacock out in the first round. He's in the bottom 6. Rivera out in the first round. He's in the bottom 6. Lester out in the first round. Bottom 6. You had Castellanos, that was wrong. Chu wrong, Steyer's wrong. But you had half of these names down here, including your number 3 seed coming in, Taylor Peacock. And if we look at my first 6 out, Lester, Rivera, Richards, who is in the bottom 6 right now, Peacock, Castellanos, and Reeves. Castellanos and Reeves obviously in plus territory. I think Jacob is safe, so he will not be eliminated in the first round, so I'll miss that pick at least. But a lot of swings and misses here, right? You had Joey Steyers being am I missing Joey Steyers on this broadcast? No, there he is, plus 37. So you'll miss on that one. You'll miss on Brian Chu, I believe. Oh, no, he's only plus 9, so you could get that one right. But we're going to Darlington next week. His points are tight.
They are, and man, I tell you what, commenting on the Watkins Glen, very clean race. Kerry Tribute actually finished 6, so
Okay, outside top
after
5.
all his troubles, him and Gregory had a little bit of net code and wrecked in the S's, and
He just spun out on his own too.
yeah, and I was kind of vocal. I kind of picked on Kerry a little bit about him coming back onto the track a little bit. It wasn't to be mean or anything. It seemed
No.
like even Jason Morales, whenever he got spun out in the bus stop, whenever he came back, it's like, just kind of watch your relative. You gotta know that people are coming, right? So,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they had 4 incidents that I had to look at, and they were all very recent incidents. Nothing. Nobody really. I think everybody showed a lot of patience and a lot of courtesy. It was almost weird. It was almost like a Halloween Monday, Tyler.
It was very
Just
respectful, I agree,
yes.
compared to what races we've seen in the
You
past.
know, I qualified second. I knew Kerry and Cole were going. You could just tell in practice. I mean, the practice speeds didn't lie. I knew that I was probably a third to fifth place truck, depending on how tire wear would play a role. I actually did pretty great managing the tires. I was kind of proud of myself. Uh, but enough of toot my own horn. I let Kerry and Cole go fight it out. Kerry had a little bit of trouble. Cole dominates. He actually pits before stage one ends, so that's why he didn't get any points. He wanted to kind of leapfrog and keep his track position, but he really
It
didn't
was a
need
good
to do
call.
that. He didn't need to do that
I
because
I
none
think
of
it
us
was a
did
good
it.
call. I
But
think it was a good call.
well, I mean, hey, but none of us pitted. I mean, he still would have had the lead no matter what, in my
But if
opinion.
he makes a mistake on pit road under caution, he goes to the
Well,
end of the line. If he makes a pit road mistake under green, he can just take the drive through the next time by, and he'd still probably cycle to the lead when you go to the caution because there was a 1 lap difference.
that's a
That's why
great
I think it's a
point, but
smart
he
move.
was also what? I mean, 5 seconds
Oh,
ahead of
yeah,
second place. I mean,
he was pretty close.
it just I don't think it would have mattered at that point, especially with 40 laps to go. I think he would have
Yeah,
made his way up there, winning by 30 seconds, over 30 seconds for that matter. But no,
dominated second
great,
half.
great, great job by Cole. And I mean, just a great job by a lot of people ran well. Justin White, Adam Newton, the swim gods were up there. Nate Maurer comes back and rebounds. Couple of
Yeah,
guys that didn't have a great race. Joey Doucette, Robbie
Robbie
Richards.
Richards, Taylor
I
Peacock.
mean Taylor
Does
Peacock,
Taylor Peacock even
Jose.
show up? I don't even remember him.
No, he
Jose
doesn't
Luis
show up.
Rivera. Rivera
Doesn't
didn't show
show
up.
up. Stephen
Stephen
Thomas doesn't
Thomas
show
doesn't
up.
show. Yep, I
I mean,
agree.
a lot of names that's fighting
Why?
for a
It would have
championship.
been a free 10 points. It's a free 10 points, even if you just show up for a lap.
It's
That's
more
just
than that. It's more than that if you just stay on the track and ride around and meet minimum
well, I'm
speed.
just saying worst case scenario if they only make a lap and then they have to go or
Yeah,
whatever. It's still free 10 points.
it's
Like
crazy.
Thomas is the only one that had a legitimate excuse in my opinion, right? I think he had internet issues or a computer reset on him. Unfortunately, he missed the start by like 2 minutes or something.
Peacock might have been on vacation too.
Yeah, just bring a
Uh,
laptop and figure it out. You do it all the time. I do it all the
yeah.
time sometimes.
Or you could have paid for that $12 Storton Park.
That is true. I don't think we give points though for the starting parks, do we? Or do we
You
give
don't
them
get
less
points,
points?
but if you were
But you
to
can win it in the next week. You're
win,
right. You're
you
right.
can
You can
win.
win it in your next week. Yeah, and I think that really hurts. Well, can you put the points back up actually, real quick, producer Cody? Not. It's great having a producer up in a live feed because I can just say, "Hey, pull this up," and I don't have to go look for it myself. I love having the producer Cody not available. Playoff bracket, by the way, we did show it at one point. Darlington 150 lap race Monday night. That's the cutoff race. But like in the case of Rivera, you're minus 25. Yeah, you're not going to point your way out of that unless you have a lot of problems ahead. Peacock minus 28, same deal. Like just pay the starting park and then get lucky and hopefully win your way in at Darlington. But those two drivers, I mean, I don't see them getting out of that hole unless Gregory, Castellanos, and Chu all just like absolutely bomb. Because right, if you think about it, Rivera minus 25, but for him to catch Castellanos or Chu, really he's minus 31 or minus 34. Peacock's even worse. He's minus 34, minus 37. So those guys are in a hard spot no matter what. They would have to dominate both stages and win the race, in my opinion, to have a chance out of this.
Well,
But
Tyler, we've
a
seen
tie for
weird things
14 is
happen.
good.
Yeah, we've
True, we
seen
have.
weird things happen.
But look at that tie for 14th, Brady, right? Morales and Gregory, two driver. Gregory rides around in the Highline Racing Camp. He's kind of the leech or the what else is a good term for it? I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Hey,
He's just
since we're
around.
looking at this real quick, let's do a little fun hot lap question. Just a little fun one since we're really
Let's do
or
it.
no, I got Mondays, right? For hot lap?
Yeah, we also technically, I think, have 10 more minutes of the Monday segment scheduled per our schedule. So you can go as long as you want.
No, I'm gonna save it for hot laps. But I do want to
All right.
post this, Cody. If you could remember, I want to post this for my hot lap question because I think it's a great question.
All right. I'm excited now because that's a fun battle, right? And you and I were on top of a lot of the drivers in the negative right now, right? With Peacock, Rivera, Lester. But there's a couple of drivers we missed on greatly because we didn't know Stephen Thomas was going to have internet issues and not show up. You know, Castellanos is in the green. But I did say, Brady, on our one show previewing the championship, if Castellanos has a good race at Watkins Glen, he can advance. And guess what he does? he didn't have a great race at Watkins Glen, but he had a good enough race at Watkins Glen. Yeah, he got in a lot of trouble, but he got stage points both stages, ended up finishing, I believe, inside the top 10. And I said, I thought he was going to have a better race to get up, but because people missed that race, his was good enough. And now he's inside the top 10 plus 6. He's not even the driver on the cut, Brady. I mean, that's a very interesting storyline.
Oh, it is. And I see actually in the lounge Matt and Ryan just hanging out there. If you don't mind, Tyler, I might see if they're ready to come in here and we can do their interview if you'd
Sure,
like.
yeah. If you want to go in and talk with them and check on them real quick, I'll talk about a couple other things at the Monday night show real fast. So, like we said, Monday night was the road course race at Watkins Glen. Did have a stage caution, stage number 1. No stage caution for stage number 2. Was a very unique situation. We haven't seen that yet before. Generally, we've done no stage caution number 1, stage caution number 2, final run to the finish. Maybe it's a green flag stop or not. And we did see green flag stops in stage number 3. I was surprised, though, drivers didn't try to work backwards on the pit numbers, right? We saw fuel. I think you said it was about 28, 29 laps. We didn't see that backwards working on the numbers. We kind of just saw them say, all right, stage 3, split it in half, whatever. Or stage 2 and 3, split it in half, and hopefully we make it, or so on and so forth. So um, it's going to be a little bit, interesting seeing how that goes. And we look at Darlington next week, 150 laps. Last time this series was at Darlington, big wreck between the leaders off of turn 4. Nate Maurer, Joey Doucette racing hard, get into each other. Yours truly steals the win. Wasn't in the playoffs at that time, which made me big sad. Um, Unfortunately, work took me out of it, but just absolutely just interesting to see. But Brady, I gotta give you a hard time. You picked your season 3 champion to be Robbie Richards, and he might be knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But hey, I mean, that's how these things go sometimes. You never know
True.
what these 3 races are going to unveil. And Robbie, I think Robbie,
The road
oh,
course is just so difficult for
yeah.
him. And that was my concern. That's why I had him out in the first round, because the road course is so volatile, right, Brady? And you and I both said this before when we did our preview show on Spotify. Go check us out on Spotify, by the way. Free plug here, shameless plug, 'cause it's us. I don't really care. Um, we said that this is probably one of the tighter fields, top to bottom. And it looked that way through one race, but now we're seeing some big point separations because of how important road course racing is. And this is no different than in the real world, where they're going to have 2 road course races this year in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs versus just the one Roval race. Things are kind of changing. And I'm not saying you have to be great at road course racing, but you just got to be able to not wreck, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about finishing. So, uh, you know, that's that's what makes or break you in this round is those road courses. And I'm pretty sure we've been consistent with Watkins Glen being here time after time. So it's almost laughable how you see some of these veterans struggle at this track in this round because nothing
It's
has
how
really
every
changed for
season.
the past
It's
couple of
pretty much
seasons.
every season. Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much have established Watkins Glen of being in this spot for the past couple of seasons for some of these guys who have been here since day 1, like the Taylor Peacocks, the Robbie Richards, maybe day 3, Jose Luis Rivera. You know it's coming, prep for it. So, but
I agree.
we are at this time, Tyler. We're going to just keep moving along with our fan zone segment, and then maybe
Yeah.
Fridays, and then maybe right before hot laps, we can get Ryan and Matt on, and then we'll do hot laps, and then our final 2.
Sounds good to me. Fan Zone this week, we're taking questions from drivers in the Championship 6 and focused on the Tuesday series. First question from from the Tuesday night drivers in general. First question is from a driver we already talked to. That's Steve Burnett. And he asked, who is the most improved driver of the season in the Tuesday night series?
It's really tough. I thought about this earlier. Man, I mean, and it's kind of hard how you like if I wanted to talk about somebody in particular, maybe comparing them from
Yeah.
a truck series to now, it would actually be a toss up between maybe Steve Burnett and Stephen Gregory. I would say those two kind of surprised me as far as being as competitive as they were in this car. Um, the Adam Newtons don't surprise me. The Blake Lothians, just to kind of name a couple of those people that I see on different nights come into this series. I really did not expect Steve or Stephen Gregory. It's not, I mean, look, we got Blake Lothian that didn't make it. He's running for a
Yeah.
championship, and you would have thought that it would have lined up for him to kind of be in this spot tonight. So it's kind of surprising to me that he's not on here. Uh, but if we're looking just diving down into the series from looking at the driver from Daytona to last week at Talladega, the most improved driver for me in this series. Oh man,
I mean, I have
I'm
one
gonna I'm
hands
gonna
down.
I'm gonna have to say, uh, man, there's so many names coming to my mind right now, and I I want to say Nate Maurer just
Yeah,
because Nate Maurer came into it a week or two late, and I just never
he did.
expected him to be in the championship six. And
Yep.
the way he kind of ran throughout the season, it was so quiet and not really
Yeah.
consistent, but he just made his points.
No, I
And
agree.
then the playoffs kind of turned on, and we see him finish third and get stage points at Kansas. We see him basically not even fight Hunter for the victory at Talladega because he knows if I just push Hunter and finish second, I don't have to worry about Hunter throwing a bad block on me. If I just stay behind Hunter and just push him to victory. Who cares about winning at Talladega? I'm getting a ticket to the championship six prize, which is way more worth than winning at Talladega. And to me, that shows maturity. That
Yeah.
shows what kind of driver you are as far as IQ goes. So I think my pick would have to be a Nate Maurer.
So, I mean, great point you bring up, right? Nate Maurer, before the playoffs, only one top five. That's Darlington. The only top five he had in the regular season. Obviously, he missed the first two races, joined late. I'm going to say a guy who's not in the championship six, though. In my opinion, I think had a very, very strong season. Later on, though, he performed way better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. And that's Justin White. He came in to the playoffs not having a very good regular season, but he did make it, which is huge, right? Justin White came into the playoffs. His best race finish, I'm trying to just do some math real quick, was seventh. Yeah. His best regular season finish, no, sixth. No top fives in the regular season, and really even no top fives in the postseason. But he had way more consistent results race wise in the postseason than he did in the regular season. I think he figured the vehicle out a little bit more. He had a great run at Kansas. Unfortunately, I believe he was, behind the eight ball. Didn't collect a lot of stage points though, which did hurt him. But I think he started to find the groove with the Xfinity car. It's not a sexy pick. It's not the most flattering pick. But I think he really did start to learn the vehicle throughout the season. Finally started getting some results together and figured it out late in the season. Yeah, maybe it was too little, too late for him to make it to the championship six. But I think he had a very strong finish to his year.
I would agree with that, Justin, and I'm gonna say that because I take care of. So some drivers have a bank with Nazareth
Yep.
just so that they don't have to use that transaction week in and week out. So Justin is in one of those unique positions where, he doesn't want to, he doesn't want me to send him the money in case he wants to run a special event. It's paid for. He doesn't have to worry about it. He could just show up, sign up, and race, right? So I have that with Justin. And when I sent him his balance a week ago, he was surprised, and I'm like, yeah, because I want to say he started with a number. It came down, but then it fluctuated back up. It came down and then it fluctuated back up, and now he's almost to the point to where he's broke even this year. and it didn't start off pretty for him. I will say that.
No,
So
it did not.
Justin's one of those guys that should be an example of Nazareth and how you kind of run these seasons, because the first 3 to 4 weeks is not the experience you get. You almost want to give up and quit, but as you kind of keep going on and propelling throughout the year, the seasons that is, you get rewarded for them. And Justin's, we saw that, on Fridays whenever he didn't think that, on week 5 he was going to be running for a championship, or Mondays perhaps. I want to say, he was talking about quitting because I think his best finish was 32nd. Next thing you know, he's in a championship 6. So no, that's
Yeah.
another great pick.
Yeah. Sorry, I was smirking because I just saw myself make a beautiful pass on Chris Cinnamon at Gateway, behind you in that Murph's Magical Creation pink and purple 31. That was a sexy move right there. I didn't realize how good it looked on the broadcast. I actually caught it. Generally, when I race, I don't look at the broadcast after. So I was like, I know exactly how it ends. It's very sad, and I don't want to look at it again.
Some great shots right
Uh,
there by our producer, Dean Hopton. Biggles is what
oh
we
yeah,
call him, his nickname. But yeah, some
yeah.
great producing right there.
No, he does some amazing work on the broadcast. I appreciate him. So huge shout out to Biggles. I know he's working right now. The Goat Locker Racing ARCA series. They should be done by probably now. The other fan zone question we're discussing. I appreciate our producer Cody not throwing up the new fan zone banner here on the bottom of our show. It's from Joshua Suss, and he asked, "Do you think equipment can give you an edge? And if so, what piece of equipment do you have that you believe gives you an edge?" And I'm gonna say this: I have what 7 wins in Nazra. It's like tied for like 9th or whatever, or 10th in trucks only. If we're only talking about trucks, only 2 of them are from after me getting a direct drive wheel, which I've had for only about 1 full season of racing. I think the most valuable piece of equipment is not anything that's plugged into a computer or any of that. I think it's what's in between your ears. I think it is your ability to process and determine whether or not moves are worth it. And sometimes I make that mistake, hands down. I have 100% overdriven the car. Sometimes I've made a mistake. But at the same time, I feel like I am one of the drivers who makes less mistakes than others would in similar situations to myself. I'll take a 4th or a 3rd. There's a reason why I had more top 5s than anyone except for one other driver, despite them running, 6 more races than me in season 2 on Monday nights. It's because, yeah, I may not win every race, but and Ryan Johnson proved it here on the Tuesday night series. We'll talk with him in a moment. Top 5s are great. Top 5s win you a regular season championship, Brady, and that gives you 15 playoff points, and that puts you in a good advantage for when it comes to the postseason.
Absolutely. You good? You ready for me to answer?
Yeah, go for it.
This is a trick question, and I thought it was a good question for us to bring up. Um, it's a trick question because I feel 2 different ways about it. Um, when I got on
Load cell
iRacing,
pedals.
well, I started out, and it's funny because I have a buddy down the street from me. Him and I lived in Mooresville, North Carolina one year and one summer and ran Legends cars at Charlotte and Atlanta. We drove back and forth during the week, every Monday and Tuesday, and you know we just kind of reconnected here lately, and I found out that he was on iRacing, and I was like, man, come run in my leagues, so he's getting all his stuff set up. He's got to work on his computer. That's why he hasn't really been on racing. So once he gets that done, he said he's going to come check us out and maybe run on Mondays with us. Uh,
Oh Lord.
but shout out to
Oh,
Joey
very awesome.
Herquest, one of my buddies. So get another Louisiana boy in the league, man. I'm tired of racing against all the Indianas and the Kentuckys and the Floridas and up in the Northeast.
Charlotte,
So
North
yeah,
Carolina. We got
yeah,
a lot of those
absolutely.
people.
So and it's funny because we were talking about equipment because he asked me what I had compared to what he has, and look, I started out with a laptop that I'm currently using to do this podcast right now. I went to Best Buy and said, "Hey, I want to start on iRacing. What do I need?" They had a steering wheel and pedals that was compatible with iRacing, the Logitech G29, which I would say 80% of iRacers start off with.
Oh yeah, I had the
Um,
G920, the Xbox
yeah.
version, same
So
thing.
the and he said, well, you're going to need a gaming laptop at the least, and it has the bare minimum basically, to iRace, and I've done pretty well for myself running on the
Oh yeah,
laptop. I've won a championship in Nazareth doing it, and not trying to be cocky or arrogant. I'm just saying, in my eyes, it was like, well, man, if I'm racing against people like the Keith Bradleys and the Stephen Thomas and the Tyler Dittmers and etc., and they all got direct drive. What would it do for me if I get a direct drive? What would it do for me if I got V3 pedals? Um, but you can't buy tenths, you can't buy seconds at road course.
yeah,
When I
I
went
agree
from
with
a
that.
Logitech G29 laptop to my computer now with my direct drive AccuForce wheel and my Fanatec V3 pedals, I didn't pick up seconds at road courses. I didn't pick up tenths at ovals. Now, I will say that it's it's easier to get that better feeling
I
from
agree.
what the vehicle's doing whenever you upgrade equipment to a direct drive or upgrading pedals. um, and you get better graphics whenever you have a 3080 graphics card instead of a 60 whatever it is, 1650. You see a little bit more, so that plays a role. So it does help. Does it give you an advantage? No. There's people that I know that have equipment. I mean, probably 20 times as much as what I've got into mine, that probably run 15 to 20th at best. And that's not a knock against them. It's all in what you like, the experience that you want to get out of it. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, if you're going to pursue this, I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, or right at 4 years, maybe even five. And I plan on continuing to do it because this is like my golf hobby. I always tell my friends I compare this to golf. They want to spend $2,000 in golf clubs and go play golf. I want to spend $2,000 in iRace because that's what I enjoy doing with all of you. And
I
that's
agree.
not going to last anytime soon. But just because I plan on doing this for the next 10 years doesn't mean I need to go out there and spend, $10,000 on a rig. So that would be my question to it, Josh. It's just if he's doing it, if he's thinking that he's going to spend money, or any driver out there thinking they're going to spend money to buy wins or buy top fives or top tens, do not do it, because if you're not good on a Logitech G29, you're not going to be that great on a direct drive either.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Right? I will say I only had a direct drive for season 2 of DSR Electric, and that was about 3 weeks into it. Um, do I feel like it helps me understand things or feel things a little bit better? Sure, why not? It's way better in the G920 in that regard. Do I feel like it's changed my driving style that makes me significantly faster? No, not at all. Um,
Because at the end
I
of the
agree
day,
with you
there's human error involved, right?
a
You just
hundred
saw
percent.
you just saw a vessel knock out a bridge in Baltimore. And
Well,
the
okay,
the
there
one,
there was
okay,
some
well,
they lost
okay,
power
okay,
twice,
okay,
but yeah,
but hear me out. There's still human error
I
involved in all of
agree.
this, right? There's still humans that are operating things, whether it's a steering wheel in your bedroom racing on whether it's called a sim or a video game. We still haven't gotten to that dilemma, but at the end of the
Oh,
day, human error plays a role. Okay, so I'm
yeah.
just saying human error plays a role in turning the steering wheel left and right, pressing the gas pedal, pressing the brake. As we've seen, some people still don't know how to catch up to the pace car, or even restart for that matter, or even slam on the brake whenever there's a wreck in front of them. So there's still the human factor involved in this, Tyler.
Oh, 1,000%. I agree with you, and I think that's the biggest thing, right? But you can train the human error to make that error smaller, to make that margin smaller. Um, there's definitely certain aspects of equipment I think that do help you. I do think the one piece of equipment I think helps everyone is a load cell brake pedal, because when you
I
transition from
100% agree. 100%
that is the one that I will say will shave maybe a couple tenths. That is the one I think does make the most difference, because instead of travel, it's pressure, right? And that's a huge difference because that's how it actually works in the real world. It's not brake travel you're looking for, it's brake pressure you're looking for. Um, I think that for me, Brady, I would say is the one piece of equipment that is the biggest game changer. So if you want to be, if you feel like you're really, really good, but you want to be even better, you feel like you're maybe still losing a couple tenths, and you feel like you've maximized your line and your throttle input. I don't think throttle changes at all from equipment to equipment. The throttle pedals are all the same. They're pretty soft and squishy. Load, cell, brake pedal, I think is the one. If I'm going to say any piece of equipment, that is the one. Because, right, like you, I started on a laptop in Nazra for many, many years, and I won plenty of races on that laptop, both in
well,
Nazra and elsewhere.
to kind of cap on what you're talking about, also, uh, you've got to have a little bit of common sense, and
1,000%.
I might sound like an ass by saying this, but people watch these videos, and I do it. I watch them to study them, but at
The
the same time,
qualifying videos
yeah,
from Justin Yee and Nathan Reynolds or whatever.
well,
Yeah, I watch them too.
yeah. I mean, Core Inside. Shout out to Core Inside. I love his videos, but you can't
Mhm.
just you have to study and apply. I preach that to Jeff Johnson every week that I send him VRS, I'm sorry, videos of laps and YouTube links to study. You have to
Yeah.
study and apply, and that's where I think I'm successful at, is I study and apply. But at the same time, Tyler, you can go in the forums on iRacing, and people are like, yeah, everybody's running 16-1 at Auto Club, and they're running 57% brake bias and 2% two plus offset. That
Yep.
may not work for me. And
Nope. I agree.
we were just at a track a couple of weeks ago. I won't say what track, but Robbie was like, Brady, what's your brake bias? And I was like 67.5. And he was like, "Oh man, I'm running 59, and let me try that." No, because what people don't understand is we all. I'm sitting here in Houma, Louisiana right now. Tyler, where are you at?
I'm in God knows where, Washington State.
Okay,
Somewhere
okay.
cool
So you're on the other side of the nation from where I am. Okay, I'm in the middle. So
ish.
let's just say we both have the same pedals. Okay,
Yep.
you're gonna calibrate your pedals to what you want them to feel like, right?
Thousand
And I'm
percent.
gonna
I
do the
already did.
same. And when you put on the brake bias of, let's just say, default of 62.5%, which is kind of typical,
Yep.
just because we run those brake bias doesn't mean that we apply the same pressure when we touch the brake pedal. Because
Nope.
your feeling is going to be different from my feeling. So maybe I need to go up higher or lower, and the same thing that applies to you.
I agree.
You might like running 12-1 steering ratio. I like running 10 most of the time. And
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, well, if you run 10 or 8, you're gonna wear your tires out." Well, no, because I have a different driving style than you. You know,
Yep.
so all of that kind of plays in a role besides the equipment part. So my biggest thing is just get your equipment, run some laps, and run what suits you best.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I will say I like a lot more rear brake in the car than front brake. Obviously, from how I've talked with you and our conversations, you like more front brake. So you run that 60, the higher 60s, generally for the most
Oh
part.
yeah.
Not always, but for the most
At
part.
Watkins Glen, I
I
was in the 71, 72%.
Which is insane to me because I drop mine about 5 to 6 whenever I go to, like, if a road course standard is like 67, which it definitely isn't, it's like 64, I'll drop mine down to 60. And that's a GT racing thing I think I've picked on because I run a lot of GT3s. Brake bias for GTs are like 54. So I'm very comfortable with a lot of rear brake in the car versus other driver. Like if you run a lot of NASCAR, in my opinion, you're going to run a lot of front brake. That's just natural because the rear brakes in a lot of NASCAR cars are super sensitive, like super sensitive. And that's just how your driving styles kind of develop. Mine's just developed out of GT3 racing, which is what I do a lot of. So, um, yeah, I agree. I agree. Driving style is the biggest thing. I believe we're ready to bring on our next two guests. I think they're both got their cameras ready, and we're excited to get these two drivers on. It's gonna be Matt Dula and Ryan, quote unquote, tiny horse as he calls himself, apparently Johnson. A little bit of a different program and schedule we're going to. We're gonna get these two drivers in here shortly. Obviously, one being the season long championship favorite, Brady. Everyone was talking about him. Everyone was like, "Man, he's got to be the favorite." I even said he's got to be the favorite coming into it because he is fast, bad fast. Won the most races of the year. And this is no discredit to Matt Dula. Matt Dula's had a very, very strong season, statistically speaking. Obviously Ryan Johnson, I think, has what, 3 wins on the year.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Matt Dula, 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and only a 14 weeks being raced so far. Very few incidents, 3.21 incidents per start. That's a very good number. Um, he's had a strong year, Matt Dula has. No wins on the season. He's one of the few drivers coming into this championship six with 0 wins. Obviously, Nate Maurer, another driver who has 0 wins on the season. But Matt Dula's had a year that's definitely nothing to sneeze at, Brady, coming in here to the championship six. We're going to bring both of these drivers in now to the hot lap, Brady. And I got to say, my first question for both of these drivers, as we now bring in Matt Dula and Ryan Johnson, is you guys had very, very different approaches. I think Ryan just backed out on accident. Well, you guys have had very, very different approaches here so far in the season. Or obviously, Ryan, you've won 3 races. Everyone says you're the favorite, but Matt, you've won no races, but you've been extremely consistent. How do you approach this championship race at Charlotte, knowing that you both have had different paths to get here? Matt, do you feel like you have to win in order to win this title? We'll start with you.
I mean, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Dula Weiser, the official beer of sim racing. I've been drinking a few of them, so hopefully I'll be a little more candid than usual. But what I'll
We
say is,
appreciate it.
yeah, of course, I'd like to spice up your evening. So basically, what I can say is I think that the other 5 guys are extremely fast. You see Ryan, of course, he's won 3 races. Ross is incredibly fast with the 1.5 milers. Steve and Peyton, Nate are all really good at running up top 5 in the 1.5 milers too. So I think whoever wins the championship this weekend is going to win the race. For myself, Ryan and I have been running together for 5 years now, and we started in this small league called Shut Up and Race. It was this street stock league, had like, I don't know, 15 people in it or something like that. And we kind of ran up front and learned about how to race with each other at that point. And we've grown together. Ryan's obviously extremely fast. I would say that I try to follow him around when I can, learn his lines, mimic what he's doing. And then at certain tracks, provide some information back to him. Now, I think I'm probably better at like restrictor plate racing. It's kind of like my bread and butter. But at 1.5 milers, I'm following him, learning from him. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a special moment when I get into turn 3, heading to the checkered flag, and I spin him out and win the race anyways. So I think it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be lovely. I can't wait to do it. But no, all jokes aside, these guys are fast. I'm gonna have to bring my A game and get a lot of practice in.
Ryan?
Yeah, everything Matt said. No, it's been a good time. We've known each other for quite a long time now, and it's been a blast racing these guys this season and kind of learning how everyone runs and attacks each race differently. It took me a while to understand a lot of the strategy that was played in this league when I first started. Um, and in my mind, like I had it figured out, and I never wanted to save that extra set of tires, which seemed like to be the thing for a while. And eventually, my strategy came around and started working for me. But man, some of these guys, they're fast. Ross, Matt, Steve, Peyton, Nate. It's going to be an interesting race. I think practice will help out a lot. I know I need to get some in, but I think anyone can win it. And yeah, I think it is going to be the winner of the race that wins the championship this season.
Well, guys, what I want y'all to do real quick for us, because everybody, what we typically ask, on these shows is, the different paths that everybody kind of took. There might have been a lot of lows, and then it took basically just point your way in or winning your way into the next round of the playoffs. These it was only a 15-week season, so we only had two playoff rounds, so they were just quick. 2 weeks, move on to the next round. 2 weeks, get into the championship. So what I want each of you to do, we'll start with Ryan if you don't mind. Because he has the wins, Matt doesn't, so we'll give him seniority
God,
real
you're
quick.
such a
But
jerk, Brady.
but I'm just, hey, they're having fun. I'm playing along with the game right now, man. I'm starting to like this right now. So, Ryan, we'll go with you first, but questions for both of you. Talk about the season, how it started, and just kind of, how you work, because both of you guys are new to Nazareth. So, how did the season play out to get you to where you're at tonight?
Well, yeah, like kind of like I said, it started slow, and I was just learning how most of these guys ran and how they raced. A lot of them raced pretty aggressively, which it took a little getting used to. I wasn't used to it right away. Um, but yeah, once I think it was like about race 6 or 7 when I before I got my first win, and yeah, it took a while. It took a lot of strategy learning and just being patient and learning a lot. Once I got started getting those wins, it really helped improve the confidence. Like, okay, it's kind of going my way now. I tried to be as consistent and clean as I could, all season. And you're right, the the elimination rounds were very short with some surprise tracks in there like Talladega. Um, Man, I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a little bit of a bumpy road, but for the most part, it's gone the way I wanted it to.
Matt?
Well, I mean, I would say that when I started this season, I actually had only intended on being a part-time driver because I was recruited by Dante Curtis, who ended up being the DCD Motorsports owner, who ended up only having one fated driver, myself, somehow because Ryan got stolen, which is still kind of crazy to me. But we'll get on that some other time. But um, so I was really going to run part-time, and I got into the duels, and I won the duel, and I was like, okay, well, I know I can compete in this league because I've got the racecraft, at least on restrictor plates, that tells me that I have what it takes to keep myself up front, at least for 2 or 3 races this year. Um, Won the duel, finished 6th in the Daytona race or whatever. And then the week after, I finished another, like, I don't know, 6th, 7th or something. I was second in points. I was like, well, I got to keep running here. I know that I've got enough speed to, like, at least stay up front. And then I hit a lot of bad luck in the middle of the year. I got wrecked, just kind of in some bad luck stuff. Put myself in the wrong spot. Had a guy drift up into me a couple times. Just like kind of ended my week. So I felt like my results in the middle of the regular season didn't really indicate or wasn't indicative of how fast I actually was. I wasn't thinking that I was like the fastest car on the track or anything, but I knew I was, top 5, top 10 speed or so. So it was rough going there for a little bit. Got to Pocono, started getting my groove back there in Iowa. And then once we got into the playoffs, I saw a lot of tracks that I knew that I could compete in. So I was happy to kind of keep myself up front. I knew that consistency was going to be key. We got a lot of big personalities in Nazareth. I know that these guys like to race really hard, compete for every position. A lot of these guys like to kind of spend every lap as if it's the last lap, and that's never been my vibe. I like to pace myself, conserve my tires, know that they're going to get out in front of me and then just reel them back in, rack up stage points. And that's kind of how I got here. I'm not the type of guy that's really fast on like the short runs. I'm never going to put down like a hot lap that's going to put me on the pole. And I think qualifying's kind of showed that. So um, I'm hopeful that through a lot of practice this week, and I've already started with Charlotte, that I can start really hammering in some quick laps because I think that's where the difference is going to be made. Maybe make some aggressive tire calls and put myself up front, hopefully for a chance to win the championship.
Well, before I turn you over to Tyler real quick, there's been a lot of chatter about the doll on the pillow behind you. And
Yeah, this is like
please
the
tell
second
me,
message I've seen.
please tell me the doll's name is Hunter Parsons, and please
Please.
tell me that you poke her every single night with a needle.
No, sir, that's Brutus the Buckeye. I work for Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center, and that's Brutus. He's the
Oh, it is. I can see.
yeah,
it
he's the
now.
mascot for
Shit.
the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'll bring him over here.
Lord have mercy. That's
Yeah,
gonna make Steve Barnett very sad. As a Michigan
OHIO
fan.
baby. We haven't been super great recently in a lot of things, but we're in the championship 6, so I'm cool with that.
Tyler, could you imagine if we had Steve and Matt on the
My
same
God, I
time with
couldn't
the
What is
even
he?
think.
Michigan? Oh
Oh,
no,
is he?
Steve.
He's a
No,
Michigander.
Steve is Ohio State. I'm thinking of Zach Hartwick, maybe
I was
No,
from
gonna
no,
say,
Michigan.
Steve's Michigan.
is
No,
Steve
no.
a Wolverine?
Oh no, he is. You're right. He is a Bucks fan. My
Yes,
bad. I
yeah,
forgot.
he
He's
I was
is.
from
gonna say,
Michigan,
He
but he's a
lives.
Bucks
He
fan.
lives in Michigan, but yeah.
to
Yeah, makes
whomever
sense.
is a Michigan State Wolverine, they should take one good look at my shirt and consider messing with me.
Yeah, that's a great upset from App State. I remember that.
I'm my undergrad degrees in Appalachian State degree, and then my graduate
Mountaineer.
degree is Ohio State University, and that's who I work for now. So on the medical center. So that's what the doll's for back there. He's a good guy. This is our guest room. This is where I'm relegated to when I want to do iRacing. So I got all my plaques and signed stuff back there, but yeah, that's just an aside.
So I gotta ask the two of you, right? You mentioned Matt. You both have raced with each other for 5 years. You've said now. You're with DCD Motorsports. How the hell is Ryan Johnson on Swim, and how much is Jeff Sickles / Dan Gobbles paying you, Ryan?
This shit had got stolen. We were supposed to be racing together, and Justin White decided that he was just gonna assume Ryan
Damn it.
Johnson into his team. So I've been racing by myself for 16 weeks now, and somehow I beat 2 whole teams by myself. If Ryan had been on my team, imagine what we could have done, just the two of us. We'd have blown people's minds.
Yeah.
Ryan, how much are you being paid? Blink twice if you need help.
How many is that? We started out on Team DCD for Daytona, and I was kind of like Matt too. Like we were both just gonna run part time, but I really liked the way you guys were running things, and I signed up I think sooner than Matt, and I think it was by like week 2. Like I think I went back and watched the broadcast, and it said I was on sick with it, and I'm like, what happened here? I'm like, what? I didn't really understand what was going on, but then I asked
Justin, you
about it.
cheater.
Hey, I just got a message saying, "Hey, put Ryan Johnson under Sick with It Motorsports. He's with us now." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, I know Justin. I like him, and we were kind of all hanging out as was anyway. But yeah, it took me by surprise too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a talk with Justin after this with how much DSR Electric is just shelling out for drivers. Dan
Well,
Gobbles is like the oh crap, what's his name? One of the big like F1 just like throws money at everything. Hopefully they win. It's like the I don't know.
are you
He's
talking
like the
about the one that has the sun? The one that has the
Oh yeah,
sun? Stroll,
yeah, Strolls. Yeah, he's the
L-
Strolls. He's the
Lawrence
Strolls of
Stroll,
Nazareth.
Lawrence
Lawrence.
Stroll.
Yeah, with Lance's kid. But at least in this case, Ryan has talent, unlike Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, thanks.
What?
It's nice to
What?
be compared to a professional and say I got talent.
Well,
Well,
Tyler,
Lance is
what I would like to do real quick is, I wish we would have done this with Ross, and Steve for that matter. We kind of missed this, but Matt and Ryan are new here.
yeah,
A lot
for
of
sure.
people say rookies. They're not rookies by all means. Both of them have a ton of talent. I'm a fan of both of them. But each one of y'all, this time we'll start with Matt. Let's go under the driver helmet for a second, and tell a little bit about some of our viewers. We're up to 520 plus subscribers on this network. It's a lot of people involved with Nazareth that race or part of our group. that run with us week in and week out, or fans or whatnot. Tell everybody a little bit about Matt Dula that we may not know. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and the same goes for Ryan. Let's try to get to know you guys.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Western North Carolina. Grew up kind of poor. Uh, Spent a lot of time with my dad watching NASCAR. His favorite driver was Kyle Petty. My favorite driver is Jeff Gordon. And
Oh, good deal. We're
yes,
we're good.
sir.
We're gonna be best friends, man.
Oh yeah,
Oh
absolutely,
my
man.
God,
I
the
saw those. I
Hendrick,
saw those diecasts back there for sure, man.
the Hendrick. What's it
You
called?
stay
I
out of
don't
this,
even.
Tyler. You wait your turn, boy.
I hate this.
No,
I hate
I
this.
huge Jeff Gordon fan, and my dad tried to sell me on Kyle Petty, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I confused mustaches back in 1994 or something, but I picked up Jeff
What the
Gordon.
hell has Kyle Petty got to do with this?
Well, he was a big Kyle Petty fan. My well, yeah, my dad. I got that reference to DJD. I saw
There
that
you
one.
go.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, so I picked up NASCAR from there, and it was my lifelong dream to try to get into NASCAR one day. Now, as a poor boy living in like a trailer park down in North Carolina, you don't really have much of a shot to get into NASCAR. You have to have money or be around money. So I never really got that shot. So whenever I started making enough money in my professional career, I got myself a sim rig. I put things together and started racing iRacing. I knew that a lot of my favorite drivers at the time, which were like Ryan Ellis and Matt Benedetto, kind of underdog guys. Were running iRacing. So I was like, maybe I get a chance to go race against them. And I ran into Dale Jr. a couple times, which was cool. Really did a lot of street stocks. So kind of worked my way up, met Ryan in a shut up and race league, and got into the more like NASCAR Xfinity truck and Cup Series type stuff. But yeah, by profession, I'm a mental health specialist. I work for a psychiatric hospital. I work with the acutely mentally ill, so like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, stuff like that. Try to help them get the resources that they need to improve their lives when they discharge. So I guess by my degree, I'm a social worker. Really, I'm a case manager for that population. Do some diagnostics, work with psychiatry teams and stuff like that. But my passion is just helping people. Aside from going fast and turning left, I think that's my real passion. But I mean, that's really the synopsis of who I am. I try to be a philanthropist when I can. I always feel like, if you do good in the world, good will come back to you. And I haven't always been really great at that, but I've learned it recently to be a little better as, with age comes wisdom and stuff like that. So it's been great running with Nazareth. It's been really fun being able to have this as like something that I do in my off time from a stressful job that really like allows me to like hang out with my friends and not worry so much about getting wrecked, which street stocks and short tracks, man, you spend your whole time being pissed off at somebody. So I don't do that so much. I like to be out here. So that's yeah, I guess that's the long and short of what I do.
And Ryan.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll start with kind of like a or more so NASCAR, I guess, journey, since that's what we're kind of relating to here. Um, Growing up, I wanted to do everything and just be like my dad. And I think it was around when I was 3 or 4. He started getting me into NASCAR, and I could name like the drivers and the numbers and sponsors and stuff like that when I was that age. That's how much I loved it. Originally, my favorite driver was Jeff Gordon, but then yeah, but then come to find out, my dad's favorite was Dale Earnhardt.
Good
So
answer.
I kind of jumped ship and got to be like dad. And then, well, when Dale Earnhardt passed away, Dale Jr. So that's where my number comes from. Hopefully that wasn't a question
Ooh, look
later for
look
y'all.
at that, Tyler. We could start a team right now and all get along. All four of us. You two guys are the Dale Juniors, and me and Matt's the Jeff Gordons. I feel like we could start a team tomorrow and we all get along.
Let's do it.
Kick some ass too.
But go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it started. I mean, throughout my whole life, it's kind of the same thing. I've always wanted to race and be a racer, and run NASCAR and this and that. But unfortunately, it's like Matt said, if you don't have money nowadays, you really don't have a shot. Um, but I did everything I could. I used to help a buddy down at our local track, Wilmot Raceway. for a couple years, and then that kind of fell through. And working full time, I was in mid 20s, because this was about just before I got into iRacing. I had a buddy kind of unknowingly put me through his driving course and asked me to race his car at a local track, which was a different buddy than the one I've talked about previously. I met them through one another though. Um, and yeah, my first racing season was on dirt, Wilmot Raceway in 2019. Won 3 features, track championship my first year. The last 3 years, I've been trying to regain that glory, and I have finished second every single season. But in the two of the latter, I lost it by 3 points and lost it by 5 points the next year. And then fast forward to 2023, I ended up winning 5 of our 10 races, another one at another track that we go to, and another track championship. Um, and yeah, here we are. I mean, it's been a blast running iRacing and real life dirt racing at the same time. I can't say they correlate to each other, but unfortunately, I don't really know, as I haven't ran any cars besides, the one I run in real life, which isn't on iRacing, unfortunately. But yeah,
Well, real quick before I turn y'all over to Tyler, y'all said y'all ran for 5 years together, right, Matt? Y'all are pretty much been buddies for 5 years. What's the ages? Ryan, how old are you? And Matt, how old are you?
I am 30. I'll be 31 this year.
I'm
Okay.
31, just turned 31 in February.
Okay. So close in age. Tyler, you're around that number,
God,
huh?
fucking, you wish. Yeah, no, I'm the spring chicken around here. 23 and proud of it. No,
Yeah, your whole life
I
ahead of you,
agree.
kid.
I okay. Well, I signed away my life to the words on my sweatshirt. So maybe not. Beside the point. Apology. Um,
Nice.
so I definitely a more similar kind of thing. I understand that wholeheartedly. Um, but
I told you we're all
you
gonna
both
be
talk.
best friends after this.
I know, right? We're gonna figure it better than me and Dean Doucette. So you know what? We're all making progress tonight at this point.
Hey, leave my
Crying
buddy
out
Dean
loud.
alone.
No, I will not. But I'm just kidding. Dean, I respect you, but that was a dumb comment. But no, I appreciate all of you guys coming on tonight. I respect both of you. I wish you all the best of luck. I said from the beginning, Ryan, that you were the favorite coming into this postseason, but outside of yourselves and each other, Matt, you can't pick Ryan, and Ryan, you can't pick Matt. Who are you most concerned about coming into Tuesday night when it comes to Charlotte? Yeah.
Concerned about? Can you concerned about racing around them?
No,
I
just
guess
I know where you're
more
going
just
with
like
this.
talent wise.
You can go first, Matt.
Shit. Nah, I mean, I think that I think my answer would be the same two people, regardless of how I wanted to define it. Ross and Peyton are both the people that I think are the most dangerous. Now, that's not to disparage Steve and Nathan, because they're both very fast. I think Nathan's very consistent, but maybe not as fast on the long or on the short runs. Um, and Steve's really quick, but he's got some inconsistencies with his lines. He gets into run-ins with people that gets him into a bad position. Peyton kind of does the same, but if it's a green-white checkered, that dude's just going to bury it in there, and he's going to be a really tough competitor. Like, I could see myself and Ryan being on the front row, Peyton diving in 3 wide, just cleaning us all out, and who knows what's going to happen.
Wait, you say that about Peyton? Oh my gosh, I'm going to use that against Peyton later because he's still upset at me for being aggressive the last lap at Michigan like 3 years
Dude,
ago.
Peyton's a very aggressive driver, and he's good. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. I got to give him that, man. We had our run in previously. I chewed him out, and he chewed me out, and we had an argument. Lawyer versus social worker type shit. But It was sorry, you guys are gonna have to beep that out or edit it at some point. I'm sorry. But
Hey, we're live. It's all right.
PG-13 show. That's
we
fine.
we had our disagreements, but I respect him. He's really fast. We learned how to race cleanly throughout the playoffs. That being said, he'd be second on my list. I think Ross is so fast on the mile and a halfs. I mean, dude really, really, really cleans up. I saw him at Kansas. He was one of the few people this year that could outrun Ryan in that specific time, even though Ryan would tell you, well, I mean, I just misused my tires or some shit. But he's going to be dangerous. I hope to be able to do enough practice to be able to compete with him. And I think that I can. I just got to put my mind to it. But yeah, Ross and Peyton are the people that I have my eyes on aside from Ryan.
All right.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Unfortunately, I feel like I haven't ran around Nate enough to know how prepared he's going to be or how fast he's going to be. I'm not going to know his pace, I don't think, until we take the green flag. Peyton and Steve, I kind of lump together in the aspect of they're very aggressive drivers and they will get to the front, whether they have to go through you or anybody else. But I think they've come a long way, even just this season. It seems like we had some issues earlier in the season, but it seems like we cleaned them up, or at least they have. You know what I mean? Um, if they keep their cars clean, and especially, I think not just the green white checkered, but 15 laps or less, I feel like they're definitely going to be very, very hard to get around. They will make your lives miserable. Um, trying to pass them. Ross, Matt kind of said it, hit the nail on the head with that one. I think he's the only one that's outran me, just flat out outran me this season on a mile and a half. And you got to give credit where it was due. I don't know if he practiced a lot for the race or what it was, but um, he's going to be a really big contender. I think most of these guys are. But my two, not picking Matt, I think I'm going to go with, well, I guess I only got two other guys to go with, don't I? Steve and Nathan. Yeah, okay.
Okay, not really picking yourself, but who wins the championship? The second part is who do you hope does not win it at all? Like a driver you might not be able to, like you can't stand, and you just don't want to see him win it at all. So, not picking yourself, Ryan. Who you think's going to win it, and then some guy that you probably don't want to see win it.
I'm going to go with Peyton because I don't think we're ever going to hear the end of it.
Is that for both? You think he'll win it other than you, and then he'll make your life miserable?
No, just the I don't want to see him win it.
Who wins it? Who wins it if you can't pick yourself?
Well, I mean, of course, I would hope my buddy here.
All right, so he's going Matt. Matt, who do you think's going to win it? And not picking yourself and one person you don't want to see win it.
Well, geez, not to make this a circle jerk, but I think that I actually really do
Don't worry,
believe.
we're already past that point. We're already past that.
I actually really do believe Ryan's going to win this. If it's not Ryan, it's going to be Ross. That's how I feel, especially if it goes, long distance green flag runs. Now, if it's a green white checkered, no clue. Absolutely no clue. It could be anybody because I think we'll all be up there in like the top 8 or so. Anything could happen. Damn, Peyton, I don't mean to do this to you, bro, but I agree. I really don't want Peyton to win this thing. Just because he's the only driver I've had a run in with this year. And
Fair enough.
I think he's fantastic. Obviously, he won the first race of the year. He knows that he's good. He and Steve like to talk a lot of smack to each other. So like,
oh yeah,
that in the Discord right now.
It's literally right now.
Swear to God, no matter which one of them win, it's going to be insufferable if they do. So I'm going to say Ryan's going to be the neutral good. He's going to win the championship. I'm going to be the second driver on my team like I always am, win a couple dollars, be super happy. Ryan's going to be like, oh, well, I was fast, but like, I don't know, anybody could have won it like he always does. And
Hey, that's a
it's
great
going to,
impression.
it's going to be annoying as hell, but I definitely think that's what's going to happen.
Well, that's all I
Well,
have for you
yeah.
guys. No, go ahead, Tyler.
No, I was gonna say that's all I have as well. I know we got to get to our other drivers on the show. I appreciate both of you coming in, also being so candid. Ryan, this is the most I've heard you talk. I've seen you in interviews, man. It's hard to get some words out of you sometimes. I appreciate you opening up, being a little bit more out of your shell. Matt, I appreciate the liquid courage to be more candid. But no, I definitely appreciate both of you being on tonight with us, and I look forward to seeing how you all perform next week. Ryan, you are Brady's pick to win the championship. My pick's already been eliminated back on the old picks, so we'll see how that works out for you. The commentator's curse has been pretty real so far, so I wouldn't hold your breath, but maybe, Matt, that's a good omen for you. Again, thank you very much, gentlemen. Wishing you the best of luck on Tuesday night.
Yeah,
Much
good luck,
apprecited.
guys.
Duel-wise are the beer champions, one way or the other. We're going to win this thing, and we're going to do a burnout and have a good old time down at the Coca-Cola 600 when we do it.
I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations, guys. May the best man win, and I look forward to it. I'm glad to have you guys on Tuesday nights, and we appreciate y'all's support.
Appreciate
you
it.
make
Hey,
it
Tyler,
amazing.
thanks for your service, brother.
Thanks for your support, man.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a fun interview set there, Brady. I mean, both guys very energetic, and it went so long that we're gonna have to maybe circle back to the hot lap here
Yeah, we
later
can.
on. But we're gonna actually go out and try and find our next two drivers here, Nate Maurer and Peyton Johnson. Maybe we'll just do the hot lap and the final lap combined tonight, Brady. We
Yeah,
weren't
that's
going to have
fine.
very many questions for each other, and really it's just going to be probably those four questions and then our race picks
Yeah, I
for the four races
apologize,
we haven't
man.
discussed.
That that
No, that was
interview
great.
that interview was fun. I mean, I felt like all four of us, were having fun there. So,
Oh yeah.
I
Hey, you
mean,
want to make a team with the four of us? I will sign right up. I mean, no questions asked, Brady. Make it happen, dude. No, for sure. Uh,
no, I
but no,
think
we got to.
no, I'm serious. That was one of the fun ones that we had. I'm glad. I
Yeah,
almost coming from them. I was like, I almost wish, and I mean, you can't do it with these schedules. We had literally 24, maybe 36 hours to kind of get these six guys together
it was
and figure out
very.
a schedule. I think it would have been really fun to have Peyton and Steve together as they're going at
Oh
it in Discord. I
God,
can
I could
only
not have
imagine.
dealt with it.
Oh man, we probably wouldn't even got a word in, Tyler. But I
No.
mean, dude, I'm having a blast with you doing this, and this is what it's all about, right?
These are the
Um,
best shows of the week. As we see a
yeah.
crazy incident that we probably need to talk about from last Friday more so. But that's the
Oh yeah.
yeah. We did talk about it a
Ugh.
little bit on the last show that we did on Spotify, but holy crap, watching it on the broadcast view is hilarious. Oh my god. That's great. No, the next two drivers, obviously, one of them is one of your drivers, along with Ross Tatum. That's Peyton Johnson, the only set of teammates in the championship six, as well as our friend from Pennsylvania. My pick at Pocono for the Monday Night Series got me the win in the point standings, Brady. That's Mr. Nate Maurer, bringing them both on live on the hot lap. Brady, two drivers that, you know, had very different paths, in my opinion, to making it here. Obviously, Peyton Johnson wins the season opener, I believe, at Daytona, locks himself into the playoffs right away. Peyton Johnson and I, we've had our run-ins in the past. We'll probably talk about that a little bit here, but Nate Maurer, our Pennsylvania native, getting it done as well late in the season, having a pretty solid year overall. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being on here live tonight. We'll first start off. One, tell us about your seasons and how you got to this point, and we'll start with Mr. Peyton first.
Hey, yeah. So, wild season. Did lock myself in Daytona. Took some riskier strategies. Kept speeding on pit road or getting wrecked by Steve Barnett. So it was kind of a wild year. Had a few other top fives in there. Overall, pretty solid. League has a lot of good racers, so it was hard. New Talladega was going to be a rough race to point my way in after the stuff that I went through the week before. Luckily, got in by a few points, and here we stand.
And Nate.
Nate?
kind of start off. I didn't really want to race anymore. On what I already was going through some shit. Going through some stuff, family, personal stuff, and then it's like, man, I was watching you guys race. I was like, man, I kind of went on this, kind of hit it around to Brady, and I don't know if I'm allowed to be saying this, Brady, but Brady's like sponsoring me to race in here. Don't make it win, keep all the winnings, whatever. I just want to race, and I don't know. My main thing was, I mean, there's a lot of guys in here I never raced against before, so I was just kind of gonna feel my way out through the season, learn how these other people are racing, and talk to some of my teammates. So I'm just gonna try making a push in the playoffs. I felt like I was better than a few of the guys that I was letting finish in front of me every week. I think I might have only had one. I don't even know if I had any top fives, to be honest with you. I don't know if I had how many top tens I even had, but told myself I think I can make it to the final six if I keep my car straight, and here we are in the final six.
Well, good deal. No, I mean you're not airing any dirty laundry, Nate. I mean I have no regrets or anything. I'm always willing to help out. Some. And you and I developed a relationship in the past. So when you came to me, I figured we could put something together to help us both out. So, but no, I mean, we'll start with you, Nate, on this question. It'd be the same question for Peyton. Tell us a little bit about the playoff format. Because Peyton, I know you ran season 2, I believe, of the Friday night. So it's been a while since you've been back to
Yeah,
Nazareth.
he's still
Uh,
salty about Michigan. Don't remind him.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
so
stopped.
he
I
got.
stopped running the Friday nights after Tyler wrecked me on the final turn at Michigan. I have a
Right.
video. I have a video of my buddy who he and his family were watching that race, and I go in
They
there.
put
And
it on
Tyler's,
Facebook. They were so
yeah,
sensitive about it.
yeah. I'm not. Tyler blinks out, right hooks me into the fence, and my buddy goes, "Oh, he wrecked him."
Well,
So
look.
yeah,
Let's talk about the playoff format. Nate, we'll go with you first. Look, 2 races around. You basically just got to make your way on to the next round. You didn't really. I don't even think you had any playoff points. Peyton had a little bit. But you got to kind of claw your way through to get to that second round with the points reset. You have a great finish at Kansas with a third place. You come back, finish Talladega with a runner-up. Tell us a little bit about the playoff run, your mindset, and did you? I really want to know. Did you? Did you want to make a pass on Hunter there at Talladega, or you were just content running second to make sure you were in the final six?
We're gonna start off with that last question first. I don't know if you've been watching, bro. You're race control. I don't know how. I think Robbie told me you're helping out with Jeffrey Johnson there during that. I split up for a half a second in front of Peyton, and I said, "What in the hell am I doing? I gotta, I just gotta finish." Like I didn't know really what the points were. I was like, I'm just gonna push Hunter. I'm just gonna stay here and hopefully nothing bad happens. I even came over the comms. I said, "Keep this thing green to the end, boys." On the last lap. I was just trying to be smart. That's just kind of my whole thing through the playoffs. Just being smart, not even trying to win. I didn't even care about the win at Talladega, man. If all I had to do was finish 15th at Talladega, I would have probably finished 15th to make it to the final six. But the playoff format, I'm kind of looking here because I kind of forget where all the. I thought I was done at Bristol because what I got. Well, I apologize to Robert Hill. I kind of. That's actually probably the most aggressive I got. I was kind of getting irritated. He was kind of slowing up the high line, and he went down to like let people go around. And he kind of slid back in front of me, like, "What the heck's this?" And so I kind of gave him a bump, and you know how Bristol is. It's terrible. You give somebody a little bit of a bump, and they spin around. And that bump worked out. I got up to eighth, and then I think I got wrecked by Merck. Yeah, Merck. Yeah, I think it was Merck got me. And going the next week, I was like, man, what? I'm gonna take him out. And then I was like, no, I gotta think big picture here. Then we went to Michigan, and I kind of just I let him go around me because I mean, let's face it, I know he's not a very likable guy in the league. I don't have a problem with him personally, and I just wanted to follow him, man. And then me and Bo Tiffany got into it. Like he was yelling at me that I didn't just stay in line with him, and at that point I had a bad Bristol race. I needed a good Michigan race, and I was like, I'm gonna go around, like I'm gonna work the high side on him, and I got to his outside, and he came up and he wrecked, but luckily he didn't get any damage. And then we just made it to Kansas and Talladega. And Kansas, I knew Robbie kept on telling me, dude, you're good at Adam Robbie kept telling me, like, dude, you're good at Kansas, you're good at Kansas, you can possibly get a win there. You got Ryan Johnson in the league, that ain't gonna happen. And I seen him lay back there on that final restart, and they really laid back, and I was like, dude, I'm taking this advantage. Like, I'm gonna get a little bit of a distance in front of him and run the bottom as much as I can to save tires. And then when I seen him coming, I kind of moved up and I just let Ryan go. And I don't know if I should say this. I feel like I'm better than Dula. I feel like Dula is like the leech on Ryan's back. He just mimics everything that Ryan does. I don't know. I was like, I'm not gonna let Dula around me. I'm gonna stay right in front of him. And I don't think he has a win either this season. I feel like we're kind of on the same playing field. And I was like, I don't know. I just got to finish good here so I can go into Talladega next week and not have to worry too much. And yeah, here we are.
And Peyton?
Yeah, I think the playoff format is actually really, really intense. I'm glad that next season the second round has one extra race. I got in trouble at Darlington with getting caught up in Barnett's trying to knock down the wall on the exit of 2. And I say all this about him, but I think Barnett's actually a good racer and he's quick. And I've actually told him this in DMs. He just needs to, know when to push and know when not to. But dude has speed. But he just tends to knock down the wall whenever I'm following him. And then he got me again at Bristol. And so the knockout race of the round before, I had to put up a good finish and get good stage points, and did it. Made it into the next round by, I think it was a tie. I made it on the line, and Bo just got out because I think I came in 4th that race and beat everybody on the tiebreaker. And then you come into coming to Talladega needing a good finish after what happened 3 the week before, and got great stage points to the first stage. Had to fight through everything to get up through there. Then got wrecked a couple times, not of my doing. Got involved in a couple people's things. Ended up not getting my car fixed and just sent it to the top and said, "Somebody help me." And Cole was there. I think he may have had damage because he couldn't keep up with me, but we were a couple good pushes. I think I was clear of Hunter at one point in time and just didn't take it. I wanted to stay in the high lane for those last couple laps just to try and make it through, because I figured if anything was going to happen, it was going to happen in the bottom and people get spun, and I hopefully being leading a line, I could get by it. But yeah, made it by a few points. I think, playoff format definitely is great in the league. Expanding the second round, I think is smart because it takes some of the luck out of it. And I think some of this was luck. And the luck fell on my side, is what I'm saying, is luck. And so excited to be able to race it out next week.
So Nathan, you mentioned you're kind of similar to Dula, but you feel like he just does everything Ryan Johnson does. You actually both are pretty similar statistically. Both have the same amount of top 5s, 3. You have 1 more top 10 than he does. You have 7. He has 6. When you look at this championship 6 field, do you feel though that because Dula's kind of mimicking Ryan Johnson, in your opinion, do you feel like that actually helps him considering how fast Ryan has been at the intermediates?
Oh yeah, I mean, let's face it. I'm not in their Discord during the race. Just simply there's too many people in there. I thought we would all stay in the Discord together Tuesday night, because Roger's a good, but I mean, I race with all the only people I didn't race with in there is Dula and Johnson. I'm tight with everybody else, and I thought we were all gonna like help. On the beginning of the racing, everyone's pre-gaming, whatever, what we all got to do. And then the end of that first stage, man, I was up top. I was actually trying to get Bo Tiffany up there, kind of apologizing for the whole Michigan thing, and my quote-unquote somewhat teammates kind of bailed on me. I'm like, well, what? They're not teammates to me. Whatever, screw them. And I knew that I was on my own. And then, of course, after that, they're like, hey, some people need to leave the Discord, blah, 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 blah. Too many people in here. So then I knew that they weren't going to help me anymore throughout the race. And I was like, I'm on my own now. So that's why I kind of stayed up towards the front then the rest of the race. And, yeah, I mean, after the race, they said, hey, we're going to have to get together and practice. I haven't heard anything. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Am I going to practice? No, I never practice for anything. I'll practice when that session opens up at 7:30. I'll probably get on around 8:15 and do about 45 minutes of practice, and that'll be it. But I know them guys are practice. They're going to practice, and I'm sure you're going to see Dula following Ryan Johnson, man. You're going to see the puppy following the owner around that track. But then when it comes to green flag pit stops, I'm hoping I can capitalize. It's gonna be a good race. Charlotte's a fun track. Once you start burning off that right front, people are gonna start pounding that wall, and just pray that you're not behind the guy that's gonna pound it, or you can at least see it coming, so you can kind of let off and hope to God to keep it against the wall when they hit it, so you don't get taken out.
Peyton, I gotta ask. Obviously, our running at Michigan. I think we both have a pretty solid mutual respect for each other as drivers go, other than that one incident, which, unfortunate as it may be. And I don't know if you know this, but I told Steve Barnett in an earlier chat today, because of that incident, I don't actually win the race. I let off and let Clint Castleberry go and win because I felt bad about what happened with the blink and the fact that I got into. I will say this. Now you find yourself in a championship 6 opportunity. Does this feel like maybe potential closure for season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I had won a race earlier that year. Maybe I won Daytona or something earlier that year too. I can't remember. I think that was going to be my second win. I wasn't really that bent about it. I thought it was funny, just given I definitely posted it because of my buddy's reaction that he sent me and all that. But I actually even asked about you because I hadn't seen you. I asked Brady about you when I got back in the league. I was like, is Ditmer still running and all that? So I got no ill will towards you for it. But being able to finish this off would definitely be closure from my, time when I was in Nazareth before. That was really early in my sim racing career. Now I've spent way too much money and have a different outlook about sim racing. My career is in a different place. I had a different job then where I could spend more time sim racing. Now I don't get to spend as much, but I definitely think that I'm one of the contenders for the win at the intermediates. I think that it's obvious Ryan Johnson is hella fast. Just is going to come down to the end. He and I have had some close run-ins at mile and a halfs. He would be who I would put as a favorite, but I don't think that the gap is too high. So it's just going to be who can manage that tire the best at Charlotte and come away with it. I like my chances, and I'm excited to get out there and see if I can keep it close to him.
Real quick before you ask your question, Brady, I will say you have a great memory, Peyton, because you did win the season opener, season 2 at Daytona. So maybe again another season opener victory to maybe a championship this time.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't remember exactly, but I thought that I had won the Daytona race. I didn't have to wreck a teammate to do it, but and I didn't wreck my teammate on purpose. It just kind of shook out that way. But yeah, I'm excited. I think this league is really well ran. I mean, I think there's too many Discord messages and everything. Brady, I don't know how he has enough time to do all that, but I've really enjoyed it. And I was kind of flippy floppy about coming back, and Brady had a heart to heart with me a few weeks ago, and I was like, all right, bud, I'll come back for next season.
It's all about being efficient. As long as you're efficient. But I was trying not to interrupt you, Tyler and Peyton, but I was trying to let you guys know the 15, the white, was it the white 15 or the white number 1? I can't remember exactly,
15.
but
15 was my note. I had 15 before Hunter
yeah,
Parsons, and
yeah, 15.
I'm trying to steal it back.
White
Just
truck
like
with
I
red
had
numbers.
4 before Adam Newbert. Let the
Yeah.
world know.
Yeah. But yeah, Peyton's known for winning the opening races, just like Robbie Richards. Robbie Richards seems to win those opening races. So yeah, it's really, two different paths. Peyton goes out, wins week 1, can really just sell off into the sunset and get until he has to get real serious about the playoffs. Nate comes in late, has to kind of grind it out. He was lucky enough to have a drop race on his side, um, so it's almost like he just missed 1 week. Just finds a way to kind of climb his way into the top 20. They both battle for the playoffs. Nate has a solid second round to just, two top threes in a row. Peyton, just found his way in. He did what he had to do to get his way in. Peyton, I'll start with you. You can't pick yourself who's going to win the championship and a guy that you do not want to see win a championship. I know it's going to be Steve Barnett, but just go ahead and put it on the record for us.
I mean, I don't. I know you say you can't pick yourself, but I'm not going to bet against myself. I'm saying that number one is in victory lane come Tuesday night about 11 o'clock. But if it's not me, how do you pick against Ryan Johnson? I think you're going to see a Johnson in victory lane one way or another. Ross is fast too. I mean, I can't go against my teammate. I've enjoyed running with him this year and being with him. So I think it's one of three people that truly have a chance. I don't want to see Steve win it. He needs to learn a little bit more. I think he's happy that he's made the final six. He's just not ready for that kind of limelight, and I would hate to see what kind of an asshole he would be next season if he actually did win it. So I don't want to see it win it. I wouldn't be totally upset with it. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to get himself. I think he's going to get too aggressive too early and not realize that the race is as long as it is, and put himself in a couple bad positions and not be there at the end to really duke it out.
Nope.
Who do I not want to see it? I look at it this way: everybody's there in the top six; they all deserve it. I don't. I like
But
everybody.
there's got to be one guy that you're like, oh man, I hope he doesn't win. It could be Ryan Johnson. I mean, it's okay.
Well, let's okay. Then
Like,
we're gonna
man,
go. Just,
I don't want to see Ryan win it.
Oh
Screw
yeah.
that guy.
Then
I
I
was
guess
gonna
I'll
say
go.
the way he's been talking, Matt Dula, man. I mean,
No, I like Matt Dula. No, I like Dula. I like all them guys. But no, I'm gonna go. Okay, we'll go with Ryan Johnson. I mean, you watch real life NASCAR. The same driver keeps winning. You get sick of it after a while. You want somebody else to win it. So let's go Ryan Johnson. What's the other one I gotta pick now?
You can't pick yourself, but who wins it?
Oh, I ain't gonna win. I ain't gonna win jack shit on Tuesday night. Who's gonna? I don't. I don't know. Everyone's talking shit on Barnett. Let's go. Let's say Barnett wins it. I don't know. It'd be heck. You know what? Let's go with Duel. I hope I'm eating my own words right now. Let's go with Duel. I kind of want to see him win it on Tuesday night.
So let the record reflect: 4 picks for Ryan Johnson, 2 picks for Matt Dula.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Lord
vibe
help
we
us.
got.
Lord help us all.
I mean, I think I picked myself though, so that was my first pick.
Yeah, four with an asterisk, one with an asterisk. By the way, Peyton, Steve just put in the YouTube chat that you are overrated and that you are hacked. So you got that going for you.
Well, ask him how many top 5s and top 10s he had this year, and I've tried to point this out to him on multiple occasions, but even with all of my mistakes and his taking me out of races, I still had more top 5s and top 10s in him. So that's fine. I'll enjoy seeing that 42 in my rear view come Tuesday night.
It doesn't matter. You can't reason with top 5s and top 10s with a Highline Racing driver. I've tried all year long with Hunter Parsons. It just doesn't work, Peyton. I don't know what it is with Highline Racing drivers. You point out stats and you're like, well, man, it's just like, dude, numbers don't lie.
Poor Jason over there is running a daycare. That's all he is. He ought to call it a Little Imaginations Racing. That's what it should be called. Little Imaginations Racing.
And poor Jason.
But
I'm just picking on Jason.
Thank you guys for everything that you've done this year. I mean, it's been a great season. I think no matter what happens, no matter who wins, y'all put on a hell of a league, and it's a great place to be if you like money racing. And I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more from you guys than what you do.
Really
you
appreciate
guys
that.
put on the show. You guys put on the show, right? And obviously Brady is the conductor of the show, but you guys bring in the viewers. You guys create the racing product that we get to talk about every single week. And I think that not enough is said about the talent that you guys, especially the Tuesday night series. I feel like Brady and I have been adamant since, if you've listened to any of the Spotify podcasts, we've been adamant that the Tuesday night series has had some of the cleanest but best racing top to bottom. You guys have put on a great show so far this year. Before we let you go tonight, gentlemen, we'll open up the floor for you to get any final shots in or parting words and thank any sponsors. We'll start with you, Nate.
I ain't shooting words at anybody. I'm not. I most words I ever shot anybody would be Hunter Parsons last season or season before. But look, guys, I pushed him to a win the other night. So I mean, we got the.
Is the
I do feel
rivalry
like,
dead? Is the rivalry dead? Because you two would wreck each other every Richmond race I've ever seen.
yeah, well, that's when you drive like him at Richmond, that happens. But no, yeah, it's dead. I mean, I feel like I feel like he matured in the Discord a little bit. I feel like Steve Barnett has him beat their immaturity in the Discord anymore. But no shots fired. I like to compliment Peyton Johnson. Actually, on my team, I don't have any teammates. I'm all by myself. Um, but that's why I'm also going for duel too. I know, quote unquote, he's with Swim, whatever. But you look at the teams, he's all by himself, and I'm the only other guy by myself. So it'd be kind of cool to see me or him win it, so we can kind of talk a little bit of smack on the other teams that are in there. But I can't really talk smack on Swim. I know he's all by himself too, but them two are a team, whatever. But I raced for Peyton Johnson. My second league I ever joined was another league that Peyton Johnson raced in, and I swear he was like the Brandon Broadfoot of Nazareth. Like he wasn't Peyton. I'm not talking crap on you, but you weren't that good. And then I joined this Tuesday night league, and here it's the same Peyton Johnson, and yeah, he's aggressive, but he's a lot faster than what he used to be. I know earlier in the yeah, he's improved a lot, but a big shout out to all you guys that broadcast this thing. Brady, this is the best league that you have running currently. I don't care if I'd rather have the same amount of cars we have every week now instead of getting 10 more guys next season and having caution after caution after caution. I love the respect that we have in here. A little bit of smack talk between some of the drivers. I love the green flag runs. And thanks for sponsoring me. I can't wait to come race for you next season. Me and Peyton's gonna be teammates next season. And Bo, I don't even know who the other guy is that you're gonna have driving, but it's gonna be awesome. But just big thanks to everybody here at Nazar for having this league go.
Peyton?
All right, so I have a list. Are you guys ready? This might take a little bit. So first off, I'd like to thank Matt Dula for telling me I wasn't going to make it. Hey, look, Ma, we made it. We're here. Final six. We got a chance at it. Secondly, I'd like to thank Honeycutt's Internet for allowing me this opportunity. I think that without that, I may or may not have made it. But thank you to Comcast, Xfinity, and Honeycutt's Wi-Fi router for sucking and him blinking all over the place. Third, I'd like to thank Hunter Parsons for being a prick and keeping my number, even though I asked him very nicely to give it back to me. Just because he can win at a drafting track doesn't mean he's all that. If he really wants to prove it, come fight next year, and we'll race for the number. If he can beat me at the end of the season, then he'll keep it, and if not, give it back to me. Fourth, I'd like to thank Steve Barnett for knocking down walls and taking me out of 2 races. Has really amended my focus and made me respect him more as a person for actually getting to speak to him when I really wanted to just strangle him like a chicken. 5, I'd like to thank everybody in the league's moms for sending me all those DMs, thanking me for how beautiful I am. 6, thanks to Nate Maurer for his complaints about me putting him 3 wide when I never even would touch him. Love that dude. Can't wait to race with him next year. 7, thank you to Bo Tiffany for being a good teammate and good voice. But you gotta get over some things and get ready for next season, buddy. We'll be ready to rock and roll. 7th, I'd like to thank Hunter Parsons or not. What's the 19's name? What's that guy's name?
Adam
Newton.
I'd like to thank Adam Newton for just right hooking my teammate at Texas and taking me out for no reason. I think that was really manly of him on lap 1, nonetheless. And that's it.
Hey, he called himself the cleanest driver in Nazareth. You don't speak bad on Adam Newton's name.
That guy needs to look in the mirror and maybe have a conversation with a therapist if that's what he really thinks.
Tyler, I tell you what, this was refreshing tonight.
Dude, I love the Champ 6 weeks. I love the Champ 6 weeks. They're the best.
But just it's different drivers than we're accustomed seeing. We don't have the you know, the I guess the guys that we have had on the show in the past that have
That is
made the
true.
championship six. We don't have the consecutive guys like the Steven Thomas, the Keith Bradleys, the Chris Cinnamons that continue to kind of make their way into the champ six on Friday nights. It was refreshing at the least to have some of these new guys. We finally got Steve on camera to see what he looks like.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
he looked a
maybe
lot
next time
younger than
we'll
I
get
thought he was
Peyton
going
on
to be.
camera. Uh, so I mean, it was just great to kind of hear some of these things. I know at the end of the day, look, I enjoy this series, guys. I want it to happen. I want it to continue to happen. I love watching the Xfinity core on the track. Uh, but to kind of comment on Nate's statement there, it's okay to find 10 more guys. We just got to find 10 more guys that fit in and drive like the Nate Mowers, the Peyton Johnsons, the Ryan Johnsons, the Matt Doulas of the world.
Maybe not the Adam Newtons or the Hunter Parsons.
But
Well,
if I could just say one more thing, I'd like to thank Dean Doucette for not allowing me in his league because I'm an aggressive driver.
Yes,
that was,
I can align on this, Peyton. Dean Doucette hate. Yes, let's get on this team again.
okay. But
Brady's gonna be sad now.
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just don't want to turn it into it's a great night, right? We're celebrating
Oh,
the
yeah,
guys
it's fun. It's fun.
that made the championship six. So I want to keep my focus on them. But look, I'm really happy. Peyton, I asked him to run for Mission One Esports. I really didn't have a team for this series, and I saw a bunch of free agents out there. I said, well, let me make a move and kind of get this thing going. I had to find 5 drivers. And Peyton was the first one I messaged just because he ran season 2. We had a little bit of
Yep.
history, so I reached out to him and said, "Hey man, I'm putting a team together. You want to come run?" And the first thing he said was, "Hell yeah!" So I appreciate Peyton. Just that friendship that we have, even though that we've only talked here through phone or messages. I appreciate him.
that's things
Uh,
I have.
the help that he does on the panel and whatnot. Nate, the same thing goes for you, man. I appreciate your support of Nazra. You're here every night, every week. You don't miss a race. You rarely miss a race. I'll say that.
I'll be
Um,
missing one. I'll be missing one a couple weeks on a Friday. I'll be in Florida, so I won't be
okay.
here on a Friday
Well,
night.
it's not a great job to interrupt me whenever I'm talking great things about you. So no, but I appreciate your support and hey, I wouldn't mind seeing one of you guys win it. So you know, go after it and may the best man win at Charlotte.
Well, can I thank you for one thing, Brady?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to thank you for my 15-point penalty for calling Steve Barnett for being a dumbass driver. Thanks for that one too.
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
you're
I
welcome.
mean that's why we have the shows here. I can't penalize you on the podcast, but just just don't do it in the race. So hey, I've got to manage this thing. Okay, I know that's what the drivers don't want to hear, but somebody has to be the bad guy in some of these things, and I don't mind being it. But you have to see that it's for the betterment of the league. So
Hey,
uh,
I felt like it was worth it. I didn't complain, and I haven't keyed up since.
yeah, and I think a lot of people complain about some of the things that happen, but if you realize something, look, I always look back, Tyler, from week 1 to week 15, where we started and how we got here, and I can tell you this: after week 3, this was a whole different league.
Agreed.
And there's a couple of people that probably don't have nice things to say about me, but at the end of the day, like we say, we harp on how great this series is, potentially, the best one that we have in Nazra, and I want to keep that rolling. So sometimes you got to make difficult choices.
For sure. Well, we appreciate both of you gentlemen being on here on the Hot Lap tonight. I know it's pretty late. You guys just finished up Road to Pro stuff a little bit ago, so we'll let you both go. But again, thank you for your time and also your humor so far this evening. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it.
See
Yeah,
you
good
guys. Hey,
luck, guys.
don't beat me Monday night at Darlington now, Tyler Dittmer. Okay.
Hey, don't wreck Joey Doucette on the final lap. Wait, I'm broadcasting. I can't beat you.
Oh, good, good. I ran out of gas, by the way. I'll
Yeah,
see you guys.
I won't have pedal issues this time.
Yeah,
Tyler,
whatever you say.
Tyler,
Brady.
Tyler, it's good to see that your webcam hasn't blinked out this whole time that we've been here. So
Yeah, it's amazing what Washington State does for your internet.
Yeah,
versus Virginia.
congratulations for hardwired internet.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate you both here as well. So have a good night, gents.
See you, buddy.
guys.
Well, Brady, it's been a fun one. It's been a long one. We got to finish up with the final lap
Yeah.
here. We're going to incorporate the hot lap with the final lap. It's a lot. My first question to you, Chase Elliott on the Dale Jr. download a couple weeks back, I think 2 weeks back now, said that he hasn't watched the Netflix series, and if he was asked to do it, he isn't sure if he would actually do it because he doesn't want it to distract him from his performance on track. I agree with his focus being performance on track, but man, he hasn't won a race in over a year and a half. Holy crap. And for a driver who's supposed to be the most popular driver and supposed to grow the sport, Dale Jr. didn't love, doing all the stuff he did, but he still went to the MTV Awards and announced the things. He still, hung out with the celebrities and the superstars to grow the sport. I mean, this has to be a little bit disheartening for people who work up in upper NASCAR, right?
Yeah, and when you bring it up, it almost makes me wonder, if I was in that position, would
Would you
I
do
would
it?
I open up my life? And there's some things that you kind of want to, like Denny Hamlin's situation. You're an owner, you race for another team, you have a
Yeah.
wife and 2 daughters.
Well,
I would
fiance.
feel well, okay, well, fiance, a wife, and two daughters.
I agree.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think Denny Hamlin would be a little bit more reserved in exposing some of his personal life than Chase Elliott, who's what, 26, 27 years old, who's
It is
single,
weird how it's
who
flipped,
probably
right?
who probably has the life that any one of us would love to have at the age of 26. I mean, you're probably the number one bachelor in NASCAR, if we're being honest. You're and I say that because of the life that you're able to live with the money, being the most popular driver. The list goes on and on. You're a champion of the sport. You're successful in the aspects of what you do for a career. You you when I take a week's vacation, I'm going to chase baseballs with my 12-year-old. I'm going to
Yeah.
travel baseball in a different state. When Chase Elliott takes a week off, he's going snowboarding. He's going to a different
Breaking
country,
his
the
leg.
Bahamas. Yeah, he's going to do different things that we all wish that we could afford. And spending probably $15,000 to go do.
Yeah.
And that's not a shot at him, but to answer your question, I appreciate Denny Hamlin. Not getting off topic. I'm going somewhere with this. I
No,
appreciate
I
Denny
know. I see
Hamlin
where you're going.
and what he did as far as opening up his life to us, because any smart person who is somewhat popular, and I would say that Denny Hamlin's a popular figure, the Kyle Busch, the Ryan Blaney's, the Bubba Wallace's, people that have personalities in the sport are somewhat popular in my opinion, and Denny was able to open up his life to us, and it showed us a different side of Denny that we might have not had portrayed about him just by seeing him jump into the 11 car with a helmet on, getting out of it at the race is over. Whether he won or not, did an interview, that was it. All right, it was done. Denny allowed us to go into his life and show us what he does on a day-to-day basis. You don't think that there's millions of Chase Elliott fans out there that would like to know what he
Would
does?
kill for it.
I
I
mean,
agree.
I would actually, I mean, I would probably pay $15 to rent a movie one night if it was based on Chase Elliott's life for the past, let's just say it was filmed 10-week special of Chase Elliott's life in the playoffs of a NASCAR driver leading up to winning his championship at Phoenix. I would
Right.
pay $15 to rent that movie, to see those 10 clips or episodes, to see what it was like, how he goes home in Georgia and does a team meeting with Hendrick, and then he gets on a plane and flies to Charlotte. He sleeps at Ryan Blaney's house instead of renting an apartment. And seeing that personal life that he has with Ryan and Bubba and maybe his teammates. We
Yeah.
Like, what is it that goes on in Chase Elliott's life? You're telling me that you couldn't give us, a 2 week period of that, just a little glimpse of it? So yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. If I'm, you know, if I'm Corey LaJoy, I'm screaming right now saying, "Hey, get me on this show." If
Yeah.
I'm any driver with any common sense, and like I said, it's easier for the guys that are single or maybe newlyweds or just starting their life outs, like the Christopher Bells, maybe, even though I think he's
Yeah.
too shy, or the Kyle Larsons. Dude, if you have any common sense, open up your life for about 2 or 3 weeks and let the fans come in. I know Joey Logano's bitch ass said that the NASCAR fans are spoiled. Screw him. No, we're not. These guys need to open up a little bit more to their fan bases and just kind of let's see the life that they live a little bit. It's not going to hurt anybody. I mean, I don't know what they have to hide. But yeah, I think that's my rant about it. So if it was about other drivers that were maybe not as popular as the Denny Hamlins, etc., I would probably have a different opinion about it. But man,
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin, who has more on his plate than any driver in the series, you can't argue with me on that.
Nope.
He took his time to allow those cameras in, even whenever he dropped on the bed and was exhausted and devastated that he didn't make it to
Shoulder
the
injury
championship.
too.
They gave us that clip and it was rewarding to us and it showed a different side of Denny.
Yeah, I think, especially if you were saying this show was still on USAA, I can understand Chase Elliott not doing it, right? It's not going to reach the same audience, but this is on Netflix. Like, Netflix is huge. Netflix is the reason why F1 gets any American viewers, because I remember 10 years ago, you want to know how many people watched F1 on weekends? I could probably count them on my hands. Like, no one gave a shit about F1 in the United States 10 years ago. But Netflix came along and that spurred million plus people to suddenly become F1 fans, which is great engineering, but probably the most boring motorsport in the world, like by far. I'd rather watch MotoGP, like not even close. Um, you know, I get the whole being reserved and being focused, but like, man, you haven't won a race in a year and a half. I don't think the TV is the problem. He did do a little mini docu-series on USA or NBC, I think, a couple years ago. It was really good. It talked about him flying a plane or whatever. Like, that's cool. Fans want to see that. Fans want to see what you do. Fans want to, even if none of us have those experiences, we just want to see what it's like to be like some of these guys, man. See what their lives are like. I appreciated Christopher Bell, I kind of lost a little bit of respect for him not standing up for himself against Kyle Busch at Coda, but I loved him on the Netflix show because he wasn't included until the last two episodes because no one thought he was going to be in. And he was kind of pissed off by that. And he said in an interview, it kind of really made him upset and mad. And he was like, kind of, chip on his shoulder kind of thing coming into it. Ryan Blaney is all over this stuff. He's done the Today Show. He's sitting courtside at Knicks games with Bubba. He's doing all this stuff. Someone said on Twitter from Chase's quote that Chase has brought more new NASCAR fans in than any driver currently on the grid. And that's just not true. Most Chase fans are Jeff Gordon fans, Bill Elliott fans, Dale Jr. fans, like 95% of his fan base.
Within that Hendrick stable, yes.
Hendrick stable or his dad who wasn't Hendrick, but yeah. The majority of his fans came from the overwhelming majority. It's not even close. Trackhouse and 2311 Racing, whether you like their drivers or not, have brought in more new fans in the last 3 years than any individual driver has. The fact that we have Michael Jordan and Pitbull sponsoring big programs who are winning races every single season is getting people more interested in NASCAR. They're bringing NBA stars to races. They're bringing, the guy who played oh crap, forgetting his name. Giancarlo, whatever. The guy who played Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian series was the Grand Marshal at Coda, and he gave a pretty electric command on Sunday, in my opinion. We would not have seen guys like him. We would have seen the Kevin Jameses, yes, very funny comedians, but we wouldn't have seen these other big celebrities who have come from other things other than just like comedy shows and are kind of more like the working man's comedian, like Larry the Cable Guy and stuff. The Rock gave the command at the Daytona 500. Who else was supposed to be? DJ Khaled was supposed to wave the green flag. Obviously, the rain delay affected that. We would not have seen that type of engagement from major, major celebrities 5-6 years ago if 2311 and Trackhouse didn't exist. You can't convince me of it. I don't think it
And
ever would
look,
have happened.
shout out to Pitbull, whether you're a fan of him or not. I commend him because
He made
the
an album about his
Yeah, well,
team.
the Daytona, this year's Daytona events got canceled or because of the rain, right?
Yep.
So he was supposed to perform, and he
Yep.
basically told NASCAR in a press conference about it, like, "Hey, I'm coming back to do it for 2025, and I'm not even going to charge you." So
Yeah, he was
I
great.
mean, that's the kind of things some of those guys are doing to give back. So, I mean, shout out to Pitbull for doing that. But yeah, I mean, look, I think if you want to find a way to progress the sport in ways, we've seen documents about, Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Rusty Wallace's and, the
Dale Earnhardt Sr. had a
90s.
whole movie made about him by Paul
Right.
Newman.
So, but Kenny Schrader's name was in there. Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah.
Imagine with the technology today, it's all about Netflix. They're not even making movies for AMC anymore. Nobody's going to the
No.
theaters. Everybody stays home and streams and watches stuff on Netflix. Could you imagine if you just not really necessarily reality TV, it doesn't have to be live, but could you imagine if they picked a driver and say, okay, Coda was last week and it was featuring Tyler Reddick, let's just say.
Would have been great.
We're watching it. I guarantee you, I'm not a Tyler Reddick fan, but I guarantee you, I'm tuning in to Netflix to watch it, to watch his
Oh, for sure.
Monday to his Sunday to him getting out, and then he flies on home, and that's the end of the episode. But people are watching that, so I just think that it's common sense for a driver, for me, to say, hey, there's money going to be involved in it, so I mean, it's a win-win
Yeah.
for everything because you got to say money has to be included in it because why else would they want to do it? But
For sure.
moving on to my question, it revolves Monday. And Cody, if you're not sleeping, I know we're keeping you up.
I know. Sorry.
A little
Well,
longer.
Cody's on my time. It's
I
8:19.
know, but man, I'm just trying not to get in trouble with his new baby. But hurry up and put the
Yeah.
points back up for the Monday series so I can ask Tyler this question if you don't mind. Tyler, my question is going to be, we saw the bracket earlier. We talked about it. Sorry, we couldn't really get into the Fridays and the show kind of went off the rails a little bit,
I
but
say
it was,
we talked about the
it
Friday
was
race on the
difficult.
last show,
But
anyways.
here are the standings going into Darlington. It's a cutoff race. Darlington's a cutoff
Yep.
race. Would you think about that?
Good thing.
Anybody, you can only have one driver. Let's just say the yellow, the top, there's 15 guys in there that's locked in, and there's one guy in the red that's going to knock out one guy in yellow. You only could pick one. Pick the guy in red that's going to knock out one of the guys in yellow.
Oh, you suck.
I love it. I thought about this when we were looking at it earlier. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
got the perfect question.
If it's just one, it's hard. I could pick two and be comfortable, but just one is really difficult. Stephen Thomas knocks out Jose Castellanos. That makes the most sense to me, logically speaking, right? Stephen Thomas, very, very good racer. If he shows up, hopefully he shows up. Obviously, I think he had some technical difficulties that kept him out of Watkins Glen. Problem is, he's 14 points behind Castellanos. Logically speaking, it would be easier for him to pass Gregory, which is only an 8-point gap. But I think Gregory will be decent enough at Darlington compared to Castellanos, so I could see himself getting into trouble early. So I'm going to say Stephen Thomas and Castellanos out.
I'm going to go different. And you would think that I would take the easy road and just say Morales for Gregory since they're in a tie. But I'm actually picking Jason Morales, but he's going to knock off Brian Chu. I don't think that this track fits Brian Chu. I think he might struggle here. The one guy that I do trust here is Jason Morales. He will be on the front row. He will collect stage points, and Jason Morales will move on to the next round, the round of 14. I'm not giving up on my Jason Morales pick. I think I have him going to the top 10 maybe, or maybe
you
get
have
knocked
him
out
out.
the 14.
You have him out in the next round.
Yeah. But he does make it to the round of 14 to keep my bracket alive for the time being because I know my Robbie Richards pick is bad. But yeah, definitely I'm
Yeah,
going
that's a
with
rough one.
Morales. I think we get back to somewhere where Morales is comfortable. So yeah, I think Jason Morales gets the job done there.
Hey, I have Morales in the round of 14 as well, where he gets eliminated. It's so hard, right? You told me to pick one, right? Logically speaking, my two would I put Thomas in, Morales in, Castellanos out, Gregory out because he's on the cut line.
Well, if I
I
did
think
a
the
second
9
one, it
point,
would be
yeah.
yeah. If I did a second one, it would be Stephen Thomas getting in over Gregory. I mean, that would be
So you
doable,
you
right?
have Castellanos knocking out Chu and Gregory here because that's what you said. You said you'd have Chu and
Oh,
Gregory out, which isn't a complete asinine, right? We saw Castellanos run really well at Las Vegas, which is a mile and a half, very different from Darlington, mind you. But he's not like he's terrible at intermediates. He just makes mistakes. But I could see the same mistakes being made by a Brian Chu or Stephen Gregory.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, they're very, very similar in that regards. My other question to you, Bray, I'm going to stick with the NASCAR buzz this week. We're going to Richmond this week. Does NASCAR bring the same tire that they brought to Bristol? Yes or no, one. And then two, do you wish they would bring the same tire they had at Bristol?
Okay, so the first part is me knowing if they are or not.
Just giving it. I haven't seen the tire codes, so I have no clue.
I haven't either, but the answer is yes, they need to, and I hope that they do. Uh, I don't know what people were complaining about at Bristol. Now, I'm gonna say this.
It was a little too short. Yeah,
I
50
hope
laps was too
that
short.
I hope that let's say in that 75 lap range, like I don't want it to be where they're running a half a tank of fuel and they're showing the cords, right? Like,
Yeah.
hopefully, I think what they normally run 400 laps at Richmond,
Yep,
so
it's a 400 lap sprint race.
75 I think would be a perfect number to be like, hey man, we're seeing guys limping around off pace because they got to get down the pit road and get tires. I think that's the perfect number, and Richmond's known, in my opinion, more than Bristol to have longer green flag races, so green flag runs. So um, yeah, I hope they do. I think it would be exciting, especially how they come off of turn four sideways half the time.
Oh,
You see,
yeah.
most of the time, whenever the leaders are winning the race, they just burn the right rears off, coming sideways across the start finish line to get that checkered flag. So yeah, I hope that they do, and I just don't know. What's your opinion about the Bristol race? I want to say we talked about it. We both enjoyed it, but
We did.
like you
We did.
said, the laps could have been maybe about 20 to 25 laps, a little bit longer on a run with the tires. I don't want to see
Yeah.
them get to lap 50 and people blowing out right rears and hitting a wall. That's what I don't want to see. I want to see people, uh, comers and goers the right way of, hey, they went too hard, as you kind of see in iRacing a little bit,
Yeah.
hey, I just burned up my stuff and now I'm 2 to 3 tenths slower, and the guy from 12's working his way up through the field and he's leading because he just did a better job.
So Tyler Reddick said on Door Bumper Clear that the tires gave you a warning before they blew. You had about 4 laps from when you knew you had no grip to when they actually blew. So I'm okay with that. The 4 lap warning is more than enough in my opinion. And then a couple of crew chiefs said that if you gave them the exact same tire and they went back to Bristol, they could probably, and knowing that it was going to wear as much as it did, they could probably get another 25 to 30 laps out of them, which would put you in that magical 75 to 85 range. We actually saw drivers make it 60 plus laps at the end of the race during that green flag cycle on those tires. So I think, now that they know it's going to wear a lot, I think, logically speaking, they could get a little bit more out of it by being less aggressive with campers. Some drivers, it didn't matter what they did, they just couldn't have it because their cars were just set up too aggressive, right? We saw the Penske's just suck the entire day at Bristol, right? They could not get anything going. But we saw the Truexes and the Hamlins get more out of their tires over a longer period. One, because that's how they grew up racing. They grew up on late model stock asphalt cars where you burn the right sides off and then you limp around. Same way with Josh Berry, but I think Josh Berry's a little too amped up from everyone I've heard to actually save tires because we think he would be really good at it, but he sucked at it compared to most. So I think if you gave him the same tire, they would probably naturally just get it to that 75 lap window if you didn't change anything, because they would be a little bit less aggressive with the setup if you gave them that information in advance. So I liked it. I hope they do the same tire. I'm not going to hold my breath though. I feel like NASCAR's probably going to bring or Goodyear's going to bring a really bad tire this week probably.
Yeah, and also the stages. Like, could you imagine if like I don't know what the stage numbers are, but imagine like if the stages were like 100, 200, and 400. Like,
I think that's what they're supposed to
hey,
be.
you can't, you can't make it to, the tires or the fuel can't make it to 100, so um or the fuel can make you to lap 100, but the tires, the tires just can't. And so, like, do you cut the stage in half? Do you run the 75 and hope a caution comes out? Like, could you, I think that would be for a good race and strategy being
Be great
involved. So,
racing.
so
Yeah.
that would be mine. My last question goes back to Mondays, and we just looked at the bracket, Darlington. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
next round, North Wilkesboro and Michigan.
Mhm.
What if you could pick three drivers where both those for sure that they're going to make it into the round of 10 because it suits them better? Who are the drivers that you know for sure that you're betting on? Hey, you got
I
to
might
take a
need the playoff
$1,000.
grid producer. Yeah, I
Probably
might need the
so.
playoff grid here.
You get
Yeah.
three drivers. Pick three of them where you're like, oh man, they're just going to knock it out the park at North Wilkesboro, Michigan.
Cole Henriksen. Um, Adam Newton. So Wilkesboro enough, and he'll be fine at Michigan. And you. That'd be my three. I think you won't maybe crush either of those two racetracks, but you will be consistent enough. You will not hurt yourself. Cole, I can see winning either one of those tracks. I think he's better at Michigan than North Wilkesboro. I think North Wilkesboro is going to be tough for these guys because, you have a downhill front straightaway and an uphill back straightaway. And that's going to mess with a lot of guys, especially on worn tires, that downhill front straight. I think we're going to see a lot of issues into turn 1 and 2. Turn 3 and 4 is super easy. You can be super aggressive because it's uphill. The car's going to slow down a little bit easier. I think we're going to see a lot of problems into 1 and 2 at that North Wilkesboro race.
Yeah. Now, don't judge me on my bracket, but I'm just looking at the guys in yellow, and there's
Yep.
the first name that pops out to me for the next round is Joey Doucette.
I don't hate that. I thought
I,
about saying Joey Doucette as well.
I
Yeah, that's a
like
good pick.
Joey Doucette here at North Wilkesboro, especially Michigan.
Yeah, he's
And
very good there.
a guy that I might surprise you with is right below him. That's Joey Stiers.
I don't
Joey
hate that pick
Stiers
either.
uh, does not. And the last pick, I'm going with your bromance, Chris Cinnamon. That would be the
Yeah.
three drivers I would have to pick here. And it just looks like it would be a round where these guys are almost guaranteed a good finish just because of how well I could remember, remember last year's Michigan, Joey Stiers and Joey Doucette, both Joeys, the Battle of the Joeys, were fighting for the lead, and they wrecked on lap 5, and neither one of them finished the race. So maybe they will play nice this time around at Michigan and maybe finish 1 and 2. But it definitely for those three drivers, I think this next round works out well for them.
Let the record show. Even though you said not to mention your bracket, you did have Joey Stiers out in the first round.
I
I'm just
know,
going to bring that up.
I
Yeah.
know, but Robbie's not supposed to be down there, Tyler.
Yeah, no kidding. You had him as your champion. No wonder he's not supposed to be down there. No, yeah, I agree. All right, we got to do race picks, and then we'll wrap up the show because it's been a long one. We're gonna do race picks for every race we did not call on the Spotify show. So the first race on the list is the DSR Electric Truck Series at Darlington. You won the Watkins Glen picks, by the way, Phil Pappas. I gave you the switch. We both agreed because Stephen Thomas didn't show up. You got Phil Pappas. I took Castellanos. Pappas, great run for him, top 5. I'm taking Joey Doucette at Darlington, actually. The guy who should have won if Nate Maurer doesn't ran out of gas and not run into each other last time we raced there. So I'm taking Doucette. Brady, who's your pick?
Well, if you're going to give me Nate Maurer here, I'm taking Nate Maurer.
I already used Maurer in the playoffs, so yeah, that's fair. That's a good pick.
I'm sorry, but yeah, no, I think Nate should have won the race, and I think he's coming back for redemption. Uh, doesn't necess- I'm still looking at the points here. Doesn't necessarily look like he has to win, but I just
Yeah.
think that he wants to go out there and win a race because he hasn't won in a fairly long time, in my opinion, that I can remember. So yeah, I think Nate Maurer gets the job done here, Darlington. It's one of his favorite tracks that I believe.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
Switching over to the Sim Racer Hub Charlotte Championship. I didn't use this guy
I
all
say you got your champ
playoffs
pick right
long,
here.
and I picked him to win the championship. I'm going to go with Mr. Ryan Johnson to win the race and to win the championship for that SimRacerHub.com Xfinity series on Tuesday night. So Ryan
Yeah,
Johnson.
I'm gonna take your driver, Ross Tatum. I believe he's your driver. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna take
absolutely.
Ross
Yeah,
Tatum.
and we re-signed him
Take
for next
Ross.
season.
Yeah, so you have a pretty good team for next year. I'm taking Ross Tatum. I haven't used him yet. I've used Peyton Johnson. I've used Ryan Johnson. I've used Steve Barnett. And I've used Hunter Parsons. I think Ross Tatum gets it done. I think he wins the title. If I'm not picking Ryan Johnson, Matt Dula was a close second. I almost took Matt Dula there, but I'm going to take Ross Tatum. Obviously, the Cops race at Atlanta, the All-Star race hasn't happened yet, but we're Cops Texas. I'll let you pick first for Texas, and then I'll pick first for Martinsville Cup.
Okay, so oh man, Texas. I'm gonna go Justin White here. I'm gonna take
Okay.
Justin White here. Yep,
I'm just making
Justin
sure you haven't
always.
picked him yet.
He's yeah. I'm pretty sure. I know I picked most of the upfront and M1 guys.
Yeah, you are good to pick Justin White. Yep, you're
I
good.
did pick Justin White at Kansas for the Monday night series. So I'm gonna take him at Texas, and just because when we put these schedules out, and a lot of the board members get to a lot of the executive and board members, people on the panel that help me out throughout the year, I reward them by being involved with the schedules. And Justin was able to be a part of that. And
Yep.
he always picks Kentucky and Texas. So why not bet on him and pick him here at
Why?
Texas?
Yeah, why? I have no clue. Yeah, just I don't get it. I am taking Mr. Christopher Tate because I already used Chris Cinnamon and he would have been my Texas pick, but I'm taking Christopher Tate because I think they're very similar drivers and I think he will run well. I mean, he's a very, very talented driver. He's going to find ways to win races consistently. My Martinsville Cup Series pick. This is hard now because I'm trying to find drivers that I don't want to like burn too early. Like I'm trying to save Denny Hamlin for later in the year. I'm trying to save Ryan Blaney for later in the year. So I'm gonna take a big gamble here because I probably won't use him again until the playoffs, specifically at Kansas. It's a little bit of a gamble, but I'm gonna take a driver who's won here in the Truck Series. I'm gonna take Bubba Wallace. He does like Martinsville a lot, and he had a top 10 in a lesser funded number 43 machine a couple seasons back when they raced on a Wednesday night race. Had a very good run there. He's won at Martinsville in the trucks. I don't think he wins, but I'm hoping that you have to burn a driver, or because you're trying to save drivers, that I can maybe sneak away with Bubba here.
Well, I'm gonna go a little bit of strategy here. Since you're taking Bubba, I'm gonna take a guy that's kind of consistent at the short tracks. We saw that last year with his win at Bristol, and I want to say he ran well here at Mortonsville. But I'm gonna go Chris Busher here.
That's a great pick. I was, yeah, because I think I've already used Busher. Yeah, I used Busher at Bristol, so that's a good pick.
It's Buecher. Is that?
Beuscher. I don't know. I'll fix it later. I know who you're taking.
I thought you might have taken him earlier in the year, but
I did. I took him at Bristol. You are correct. Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
want to say everyone who's real quick, because we're gonna end here short. I want to say everyone who's watched this 2.5 hour show on YouTube, we appreciate you. Long show, obviously, because of the Champ 6 interviews. I want to again thank those Champ 6 drivers for coming. And as you've heard, we have made our Champ 6 predictions. Brady, you are taking Ryan Johnson. I am taking Mr. Ross Tatum. But it's been a fun show. I like these shows, but I also kind of like not doing them as often because it really does make it more meaningful, more valuable, Brady, whenever we do these Champ 6 shows.
Absolutely. You get to kind of see the guys, you see, right behind me, this is what you see, the broadcast, and you see the trucks or the cores go around, you see the name, go across the ticker and where they finish at, where they end up in results and standings. Now you get to put a face with it. Wish we could have got
Yep.
Ross and Peyton on camera, but appreciate the other four being able to kind of let us go behind the scenes into their rooms. We appreciate guys like Matt telling us a little bit his history and whatnot. Guys that we really don't know that well. That hopefully they stick around and we become good friends with those guys. Great people, great guys, all six of them. I wish nothing but the best for them, but it's real nice to kind of people see you and I on a weekly basis, or even hear our
Hear us.
voices.
Yeah.
But the real MVP tonight is as our producer Cody Knott. He's been by our side ever since we came out with this show,
Yep.
and he's always game to do a show. So shout out to Cody Knott, Vice President of Nazareth. We appreciate everything he does, and Tyler, I appreciate you, man, and especially doing these 2.5 hour long shows. So man, great night. I'm really excited to watch the Charlotte race, and we'll be there race controlling it. So, yeah, excited, man, and I'm glad that we took the time to do it. Just want to say before we get off air, Good Fridays tomorrow, and
Yep.
I wish nothing but the best for everybody to have a safe and happy Easter. Uh, Easter Bunny hopefully is nice to everybody, and hopefully you can all go and steal your kids' chocolate. My favorite, if y'all want to ship me some, is the Reese's egg.
Of course,
I
you're a
do
Reese's
I
egg guy.
do
I see
like
you.
I do like the chocolate or the white chocolate.
Uh-huh.
The Twix. Anybody that wants to give me the Twix and the Cadbury eggs. I take all three.
Cadbury cream.
Um, Message me and I will give you my address, and please ship them to me. I will have no problem with taking care of all that off your hands. So
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter, everyone who celebrates. Again, I'm a big Twix fan too, so I actually agree with you on that. Again, tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time for Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series All-Star Race live from Atlanta. Monday night, the DSR Electric Truck Series finishes their round of 20 at Darlington, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And next Tuesday night, the one we're all waiting for, the first champion of the SimRacerHub.com Xfinity Series will be crowned live 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network live here on YouTube. We appreciate all of you. And Brady, maybe for our next Spotify show, we'll do a little bit of history about us so people actually know who we are and where we actually come from. Everyone knows you as the Louisiana boy. Everyone knows me as the military kid, but maybe something people can learn a little bit about us and actually know who we truly are.
I like that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so we'll probably be back on Spotify for next week's show. Maybe potentially. And then we'll hopefully have our SimRacerHub.com Xfinity Series champion on with us, probably on the Spotify show. Maybe we'll do a live YouTube show. Just depends. Keep an eye out on Spotify. Check us out on the Hot Lap on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube at the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Again, this is the Hot Lap with Brady and Tyler. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Again, thank you to our Championship 6 drivers for joining us this evening. We wish you all a safe and happy Easter weekend. Take care.